We don't hang out. We're not friends off air.
No, not at all.
You didn't hear that? Hey guys, welcome back. We're on episode number 145 of My Cup of Tea. Evan,
Yes.
thoughts?
No thoughts. Head empty. Kidding. Glad to be back. I'm back every week. Weird to say that, but this is a comic filled. I didn't tweet. I didn't tweet my link today. This is a comic filled episode. What?
You still have Invincible muted? Is that why?
No, I got it this time, motherfucker. Yeah, I got it. I got it in my notifications. I see it right now. Great thumbnail, by the way, bro. Great thumbnail. I like it a lot.
Thank you. What did I do? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was like, I was looking so hard for like assets of like fucking torn paper for like, that aesthetic, and there's none that are free without watermarks, and I was like, fuck it, I'll make my own.
I'm just writing the tweet. But yeah, overall, we're going over Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which continues to be a really, really fun show. I'm surprised how much I'm liking this. Invincible, and then we'll cap off the no pun intended. We'll cap off the stream with Cap 4. Yeah. You need some tussin, motherfucker. You good?
The tussin.
The tussin. The kids don't know about that shit. Or maybe they do. I bet if I said like, do you guys need some Robitussin, then my sixth graders to be like, what? Robitussin? What is that? They don't know about that shit. But yeah, big comic episode today. Nathan, while I tweet, give me your thoughts. What were your thoughts on the next batch of episodes for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man from last week as we gear up for the final 2 episodes airing tomorrow? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. This show, again, is consistently amazing with its character work. It really gives you all the time to just get to know the people, get to know their points of view, understand the decisions they're making. Even if you don't at first, like the episode makes it clear, a little later on of like why they're feeling this way. They do such a great job with that. I really have been loving that consistently. Like, because you would go into an animated Spider-Man show and like, all right, I want to see Peter. I care about Peter. What's Peter doing? And I obviously do. But the fact that all of the supporting casts are just as interesting is a testament.
I couldn't agree more. I thought this week's episodes were very character focused, which is important. It invites a lot of discussion, which is surprising for it's a kid show. But it's as much of a kid show as other Spider-Man shows that we love, like Spectacular Spider-Man. I think is a kid show, still very good. 90s Spider-Man, kid show, but still very good. Trying to find my tweets from last week as well, because I talked about it more depth than in my notes. But yeah, let's start here with episode 5. Or sorry, I keep writing episode 5 in my notes, but episode 6, 7, and 8. So episode 6 was called The Devil, something like The Devil. What's it called? Duel with the Devil.
That's right.
Not the Breaking Benjamin song, Dance with the Devil. No, wrong one. This episode starts off with Lonnie's brother. Great song. Right. Lonnie's brother being upset with Lonnie about him continuing to double down with the 1/10th crew. And this is fascinating, bro, because last week we had our discussion about what direction Lonnie could go in. And there was like pretty much 2 trains of thought for you and I. We were like, okay, Lonnie's either going to double down and they're going to give us a tragic Lonnie arc of is my computer charging? It is.
Relax.
What's up, Derpy?
Right there.
Derpy coming in hot. That's what we like Derpy for. Derpy, stick around here for the next hour before we get to Cap. You should actually watch Spider-Man if you're not watching that, or Invincible if you have those thoughts as well. But yeah, Red Hulk, people should have known he wasn't gonna be a big part of a movie. That's what I thought. Every trailer in the world had the same scenes about it. I'm like, oh, this is where
it's one location. Yeah,
it's one location. I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be towards the end. I didn't like how they utilized him. They made it seem like a mystery in the movie, and the whole audience was like, we know what's coming. But my mom didn't, I guess. So that's like, that crowd of people didn't know what was happening. But I'm like, this is Red Hawk. Anyways, we had two train of thoughts with Lonnie. Either he doubles down. He got the Tombstone moniker last time we talked. Moniker. And we're like, okay, are we in the tragic Lonnie arc where he doubles down, becomes Tombstone, becomes more of a leader, and eventually I could see Big Donovan bending the knee, Game of Thrones speak, to Lonnie by the end, if Lonnie gets enough social credit, social power within the 1/10th crew. Or Peter swings by because their arcs have to converge at some point, and Peter's able to save Lonnie and get him out of this sticky situation. Looks like we're going towards train number A here, where Lonnie would be doubling down, which is a bit sad and slightly unexpected. We got a lot of good Lonnie in the first 3 episodes, but now we're getting tragic mistake Lonnie, and he's pushing his friends away. You mentioned very much a character-driven batch here of episodes, and I couldn't agree more. I think we've got a lot more of Lonnie, which continues to be a compelling storyline. And later on, we're going to talk about Nico as well, which had a great episode. She had a great episode for episode 7 with Harry. And then Peter had his own great episode in episode 8. So I think back to back, we're getting a lot of great character work from not only Peter, but from the rest of the friend crew here.
100%.
It's great to watch.
Yeah, I'm loving that. The first episode, that's not the episode with Scorpion, is it? No, that's Daredevil.
First episode, Lonnie's brother talks to him. He's upset. Throughout the episode, we get the, Peter fights Daredevil. Peter, Harry, and Nico have a watch movie date at home. Harry reveals Peter's secret to Nico at the end of the episode, and then Lonnie runs into the Scorpion henchman, and their hideout gets found out by the end of the episode. So let's break this down a little bit. I like that Lonnie's brother's back in the mix here, telling Pearl in the next episode, episode 6 or 7, about Lonnie's location. But in this episode, he's upset, and it's like he's upset, but he's like a kid, so he's upset about him taking the fall for him. He's like, you shouldn't be doing this. Mom and Dad are going to get very upset. And unfortunately, Lonnie's like, well, I'm doing this for you, which he is. It sucks. He's doing this for him. But you've got to this point, Lonnie, where you can now not leave, but you've had enough credit. You've done so much for this crew so far. You took a knife to him and got yourself a Tombstone name. If you wanted to not bend the rules, but just give himself some freedom within this crew, he could do that. He could stay at home more. He could do this, but he's not managing his time correctly, and he's falling back deeper and deeper into this crew on his own fruition. He used to get pushed into a corner, and we felt so bad for him, but now he's making mistakes of his own volition, and that's even sadder to see.
Yeah, it's the set tragedy that was expected, but you hate to see it.
I hate to see it, and I think it's written very well. I think we do have a couple people of color writing this, especially I know the showrunner. I watched an interview on comicbook.com, something like that. The showrunner talking about his love of the show and the progress they've been making during the writing of the show. So I like it a lot, and you could feel that with the opening, the rap opening, stuff like that. But so I really like that. I really loved the because what else we get from Lonnie in this episode is that there's a funny sequence where he's running away from the Scorpion Girl, and he's just running closer and closer to his crew, and then eventually his crew pulls him into the corner, and it's like, okay, we made it back to home base. We made it safe, y'all. Are you guys idiots? Granted, I don't put these guys to be super spies or whatever, but I'm like, anybody who's anybody knows, if you're getting chased, you got to do some laps or something, or try to lose them. Look behind you. Yeah. You let her straight to your base. Y'all took some L's there. What are we doing? That was funny.
Big Don, that's what you're uprooting lives for, these people.
That's what I'm saying, dog. And it was very funny because which episode was it? It had to be this episode. Big D was super confident, and Lonnie's like, "Yo, we're in danger. They're gonna find us out eventually." He's like, Well, they know whose crew they talking to. You know who it is. It's our turf.
We just had a standoff about this. They don't care.
They don't care, and y'all barely survived. Y'all took an L there. How did they get saved last time? Was it like, did the cops show up or something, or something happened where they had to skedaddle?
Yeah, like I mean, the fight was getting brutal, and hell, Lonnie got stabbed, but then the cops came, so like it was broken up. It was like this ain't over type situation.
Yeah, it was a stalemate, and then they're like, "Oh, we won." No, y'all fucking didn't. Y'all suck. Y'all suck. And again, this crew is absolute trash. Whenever Lonnie walks through the base, it's just like 2 to 3 couches, people on their like cell phones doing jack shit. And then Big D's in the couch like, yeah, I'm running shit. No, you're not. What are you doing? You're just uprooting these young black kids' lives, and it's just like, what are we doing here, man? That shit's always like, it's semi-funny, but it's not trying to be funny. But then we got Peter, Harry, and Nico date at home. I thought was really adorable and sweet. Continuing this triangular friendship that Peter is trying to do here. Early in the episode, he talks about like, Nico plus Peter is good, so Peter plus Harry is good, so Nico plus Harry has to be good, right? It's very sweet and adorable. But this friendship, man, it's very, very interesting. Throughout the episode, and we'll get to the Daredevil fight in a second, but like while he's fighting Daredevil, Harry connects with Nico about like what was it? The cards, what are they fucking called? Tarot cards was very fun. Last week, Nathan, I think you were the one. You said, I want to give you credit for once. I think you were the one who said Harry and Nico could be a thing, right? That was you, right?
Yes.
Don't do this. My turn to. But yeah. I thought.
Sorry.
It's too real. He's milk.
One of these days, I'm gonna actually need help. And I was like, okay, Nathan. So the plot, you just keep going. I'm just fucking.
Took's on stream. It's like, oh shit.
Died doing what he loved.
Right.
3 viewers.
But yeah, we are getting some Nico Harry soft friendship here. And last week I thought like, okay, she was annoyed by Harry because of rich status, and obviously that's going to turn around. I mean, you see that happening in this episode. They're growing closer, but I'm getting a romantic tinge to it that it didn't get last batch. I'm like, okay, there could be a romantic edge here going on here. And I think that can make like subsequent seasons very fruitful and engaging. But I also thought like, I still think like, I thought they were setting up a Nico Peter thing going on towards the end of episode like 5 or something last week or 2 weeks ago now. So I don't know. I think we got a lot more of Nico and Harry so far this season compared to Nico and Peter, even though Nico and Peter are the central relationship. So we'll see, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, she does get revealed, kind of. It's not like she doesn't believe it until the very end of the episode, where she's like, "Oh, Peter, let me guess what you're doing." And then the mask falls out, and then she's like, "Oh, Harry was telling the truth, basically." Yeah. F you, Peter. So we'll talk about that in a second. Or fuck it, let's talk about it right now. What do you think about Harry saying this to Nico? He took an L here. What was he doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best, but also it's from Harry's perspective and his limited engagement with actual friends. I could see how he would think like, oh yeah, like all of his secrets. You said so. This is the biggest secret ever. Like obviously you would know that. Yeah. So yeah, so I understand and I get it. I don't blame Harry, but it is a bummer for Peter, and it is a shock for Nico. So,
yeah, I'm shocked. I'm still shocked. As soon as it happened, I'm like, my brother and I were watching, and we're both like, Nico should have known in the first place. Like, why is she not? Granted, I get it. It's a whole like I'm trying to keep her safe, blah 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 blah. But I'm just like, Nico is your closest friend. It's like Peter telling Ned in Homecoming.
That,
like,
he didn't actually tell him either. That was an accident finding out.
Was it?
Peter,
how did it happen?
Yeah, he was crawling into his room, getting ready to change out of the suit, but Ned was already there.
He was doing the Star Wars Death Star thing, and then he found out.
That's right.
That's
Yeah. Yeah, like usually Peter doesn't like immediately go to tell people his situation, which like
that's true. That's true.
has been a core with the character. However, if it was me, yes, I would absolutely be telling my closest friend, like, "Hey, this is my situation."
Yeah,
Wow.
because you got to keep on lying to your best friend, especially like this is a person that you see on the daily. Like if it's not a person you see a lot, then it's like okay, lie to their ass. It doesn't matter. But the person you see every single day, while you're late to movie dates, while you're late to study dates, while you're late to class, school, etc., she could be giving you like helping you out in class, being like, "Oh, I think I saw Peter somewhere. I don't know." Like she could be saving you, but by not telling her, it's just it is upsetting, and I understand why she's upset. We'll go into that a little bit more. But for now, let's talk about Peter fighting Daredevil. This was really fun. Peter's at his date. Norman's at his dinner date. With Thunderbolt Ross, talking about like Sokovia Accords and like you know keeping the city safe from all these villains.
This is an interesting. That's an interesting bit because in that conversation with Norman and Ross, with the Sokovia Accords, heroes have to be registered, and Norman outright says like, "Hey, we are actively working with Spider-Man. Just so there's no bad blood. Here he is. Here's his info. This is who he is behind the mask," and he puts a fake identity behind the mask on the.
Wait, does he?
Yeah, you remember that security guard that finds him after the Daredevil fight?
Say it again.
You remember the security guard that finds Peter knocked out after the Daredevil fight?
Yeah.
He used that guy's image as Spider-Man behind the mask.
I just skimmed through the episode. I did not notice that at all. Wow, fascinating. Great pool there. I didn't know that. Awesome. So Norman over here, saving Peter's behind here. That's really
again. It really does feel like, as it stands, Norman very much cares about Peter. He is using him for Oscorp's benefit as well, but he does genuinely like want to help Peter. But of course, I think his personal goals are going to get in the way and muddy the relationship as time goes.
We'll talk about that with an excellent quote in episode 8 that I loved. I was like, oh, that's some great writing right there with the whole responsibility twist they did there. I really liked it. But yeah, you're right. He's like, it's semi-using Peter, but he also cares for Peter. It's a very complex relationship, surprisingly complex relationship there. And we know Norman's like up to something, not up to something, but just like his connection with Otto is what compels Matt/Daredevil to raid Norman's building. And that's when Peter gets called. And I thought the whole engagement was incredibly fun to watch. Daredevil's powers to the uneducated is always so much fun to watch. The way Daredevil just zoop, just like toying with kid Spider-Man. And it's funny because I'm watching this, and I'm like, Spider-Man, just box his ass. Like, you're stronger than him. You're stronger than him. Like
you are stronger than Matt, yes.
I can see you coming. But one kick to the stomach and Matt goes flying, right? Like, come on, Pete. But you gotta connect the punches, which is the hard part.
That's true. There's like a mix here. There's the fact that Peter is a very inexperienced fighter, whereas Matt is very well trained. And
literally,
when we get to episode 8 of the arc, when that conversation with Norman says as much, like, you're pulling your punches, you're not using your full power. So like, there's that aspect as well. So you can absolutely see how they could be on even footing. And that's a big thing with like a lot of Spider-Man. That's some of the best stuff in comics every time, is like whenever there's so much history of Peter fighting and stuff, and then people realizing, holy fuck, Spider-Man is constantly holding back how strong he truly is. One of my favorite things from Superior Spider-Man, when Otto takes over Peter's body and he gets in a disagreement with, I think it was Scorpion. He goes to punch him and he punches his jaw off because he's like, oh my god, I didn't realize how much he was holding back.
Yeah, I gotta read that run again. It's been a minute. What was that? 2007, I think.
No, I think it was in the 2010s.
Really, Superior Spider-Man 2010s? No way.
I think so.
You want to bet, Nathan?
I do. I want to say it's at least after 2011, but before 2017.
Superior Spider-Man.
I think it's only a 30-issue run.
Damn it, you're right.
What was it?
Ran from January 2013 to September 2014.
Give me my fucking money. We never bet.
Man, we never bet. Yeah, what a run.
Maybe you guys should pull me for the Oscar noms. I'm just.
That's when I first got familiar with like Dan Slott and people not liking him. You know, he makes some good and some bad. You know, mostly mid. But he made Marvel a lot of money. That's why they keep him there.
616 Spidey is a gamble.
it's a choice, you know. Stick with the Ultimate Spider-Man, both of like the recent Ultimate and then the old Ultimate. That's the peak Spider-Man right there. Brian Michael Bendis, that good shit. But yeah, this fight again is just so much fun. Pete landing a couple of hits, but like Daredevil was basically like toying with him for the most part. It's just I cannot wait for Born Again, man. And seeing seeing Charlie voice the character, hearing the soundtrack again, like or the classic theme. It's great. It's great. I love it. I believe we are getting the classic theme as the opening for Born Again. I would be surprised if we don't.
With how much they use it in every time Matt has popped up in recent returns, there's no way they don't.
Yeah. So I would love that. Part of me also like it comes out in 2 weeks now. You know, Disney Plus keeping it strong with their consecutive marketing because episode 8 and 9, or sorry, 9 and 10 is this week for Spider-Man. And then we get a 1 week break next week. But then right after that, Daredevil Born Again. So it makes it harder for comic book fans like us to take away our Disney Plus subscription if you want to, like, you know, stop paying all that ridiculous amount of money per month for that. Yeah. Same thing with like HBO where they got me on lock with the every Sunday. But anyways, yeah, again, just very fun fight. You know, Daredevil was like, wow, this guy didn't feel like a normal fighter when he talks back to Norman. He's like, oh, he feels kind of different. And that's when that's when Peter first gets informed about Otto Octavius. And Norman explains who Otto is, a disgruntled scientist working for Oscorp. Nothing that we, the audience, didn't know, but it was new for Peter. So that was very interesting. That kind of ends the episode there. Then we get a delicious episode 7 here, Scorpion Rising. It starts off here with Pearl being upset that she can't really connect with Lonnie, and Peter's surprised, like, wait, you can't even connect with Lonnie either? What's going on? He's missing classes? What's going on? I think was it last episode 6, where we actually saw Lonnie getting like canned out of the football, you know, team, and his coach is like, I warned you, Lonnie.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is just sad to see, man. It's like, God damn. I already hear episode 6 where Big D is overconfident about their turf for some reason. Like, why are you guys so confident? You got to get rated. Like, come on.
You guys are one warehouse.
You're one warehouse
with like 10 teenagers.
It's like it's not that hard to find. And yeah, I think it was like Camilla. She found it easily. So she informs Gargan, who will show up later. Back at home HQ, Norman has found a gamma radar to track down Octavius across New York City, which I thought was really cool. It reminded me, ironically enough, about like the Spider-Man games. You see like the map of New York and then Peter tracking things. It felt like, you know, in our Spider-Man game, Peter has a lot of tech where he can just go to track random like supernatural shit across New York. Like I could see myself like playing this kind of video game. It felt very, very video game-esque the way that Norman and Peter were working together here. I really liked it. But then Pearl confronts Lonnie at the base. Scorpion attacks them. And this shit gets crazy. I just wrote like shit gets wild in my notes.
It does. There's a lot of intense action. One person gets straight up impaled.
Straight up impaled. And I love like the way the reactions like were paneled like a comic book. Everybody's like, oh, like, oh shit. Like this is not a joke. This is for real. Like people are getting killed here, man.
Yeah, you felt it. You're like, oh no. I didn't think we would go this far on the show, but we did. You know, it's not like you see like the blood and like it happening on screen. He gets like slightly off screen, but his lifeless corpse is dangling out of frame
and blood dripping. I'm like, okay, I like this.
Okay. Scorpion is scary, and he's also a little, you know, losing it.
The best Scorpion since 90s.
Yeah, probably. I mean, just from intimidation, I think so.
I don't love the Scorpion in the game, the PS4 Spider-Man game, that universe. It's
He's
solid. He's
whatever.
okay.
He's like already established, and he's just like, here's something to fight.
Exactly. He's not that much. He's not so compelling in the game.
Fun level though. The idea of like the poison stinger.
That was a great level. That was really cool. That was really cool. So yeah, I just really like how brutal. Is it rapid? Just like anarchistic, like this Matt Gargan is. Like this is a guy who's like born from like a gangster vibe. Like this is what imagine this dude with
Michael Mando.
Michael Mando. I can see Michael Mando pulling this shit off. Man.
Easily, and it would look fantastic.
It would look
maybe for Spider-Man 5.
With the like, stop skipping over Spider-Man 4, making me depressed.
We're gonna have the multiverse story with Scorpion. Stop. You know what reality is.
I don't want a multiverse story.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Evan. You're in one.
So that's a choice. But yeah, I can totally see Mando pulling this off. Michael Mando pulling this off. Man, because it just gets me so upset. Because this show, man, is fulfilling all the great stuff that I wanted to see in like the movies. In terms of like the character relationships. Because even in the movies, it's like you get Zendaya and Ned, and that's about it. But we never see them like we don't know who they are outside of their relationship with Peter. They're with Peter every single scene. So it's like, who are they as characters? We don't see what happens when Zendaya goes home or when Ned goes home. They don't really spend that kind of time. Like, Sam Raimi had that time. How many times do we see MJ just having a date with Harry in the Spider-Man movies? Like, I loved that shit.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's like when Peter is in the vicinity, coming up, or he's like standing around. But like, yeah, if like they're on the balcony, or if like he overhears an argument MJ's having with her parents next door, stuff like that. It cements like what the people are living through.
Exactly, it makes it feel more lived in, which is very interesting and fascinating. Raimi really understood the assignment. We watched all those movies already, Spider-Man movies, right? We did all that shit.
We did.
Oh yeah,
we haven't. Well, oh yeah, we watched everything. We haven't. We haven't watched No Way Home, and we haven't watched a couple of the Sony movies.
That movie. I can't wait to watch that movie, man. I can. I'm lying. I can wait. But
what are we waiting for? Spider-Man 4? God damn it!
Next I don't know what we're waiting for. There's a lot of movies. Did we not watch like F10 or all that kind of shit?
No, we haven't watched Fast X. We haven't watched Dead Reckoning, which we can watch this year.
We're definitely watching Dead Reckoning. Oh yeah. Oh, believe you and me. But yeah, Peter starts struggling against Scorpion, and you talked about with Daredevil, but like he's pulling his punches earlier, and he starts doing some great tricks with the webbing and using his surroundings to immobilize Scorpion. But Peter like immobilized him, hit up Norman like, I got him. I'm like, what are you talking about, Peter?
Hold on, wait.
Knock his ass out.
You have to knock him out. That's always been my thing with like whenever you're fighting an enemy. Either you have to knock him out, or if you can't do that, and you have to be a bit more serious, incapacitate their legs.
Right? Take off an arm or a leg. Do some bullshit. Like, come on. Like, Peter, stomp on that kneecap. Stomp on it. It ain't going nowhere. Like, come on, what are we doing? And to be frank, this isn't us being like, go full on Joel, but like,
Zack Snyder Spider-Man. That's not what I'm saying.
You've seen Peter do this in other adaptations all the time. Granted, they're older Spider-Man, but it's just like
kneecaps, but like
he ain't doing that shit. He ain't power driving these motherfuckers. But it's just like head upside the head, knock him out, immobilize them harder. But like this Scorpion was like in the middle of the room, just immobilized. I'm like, put him against a wall or something, so he's like stuck. But he was just like this.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, you did not turn off his mechanics, so
yeah, exactly.
What do you think is gonna happen? I know your webbing's strong, but like motherfucker dissolves. Will the police be here in time? You don't know. Can they even take him in? You don't know.
You don't know. So there's a lot of variables that he just didn't understand there. And once he tells Norman, like, hey, I got him, Norman takes the earpiece off and like, okay, let me walk around and do some random shit.
He wasn't invested from the beginning, frankly. He was like, all right, fine, see ya. Like, he was just locked on fighting Otto.
Great point. Yeah. Which goes to say a lot about, again, their relationship. He's overly confident in Peter, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit. I wouldn't say overly confident, because in the following episode, he's like, if you can't do this shit, then maybe it can't work out.
I think he's rather oblivious to his capabilities. I think he definitely believes in him, but he also kind of, I think, rushed into Peter. He was like, hey, you saved my son, you're a powered individual. I do want to pay you back for saving my son, but also at the same time, I see an opportunity for Oscorp. Let me just, because that's why he was like running through all these different tech suits that were just changing everything about it. They weren't Spider-Man at all. It didn't allow him to be who he was and how he could function until the Oscorp Future Foundation suit. But once that happened, we now entered this type of scenario where, okay, you seem to have it. You're on lock. You got it. You're good. Everything should be fine. All right, bye. And he's obsessing. Like, Norman is, like, I think, equally at fault of like not being on top of things, because you have the whole thing built in of having the overseer of stuff that Peter's doing, and calling out actions that he could take, and different maneuvers. You offered yourself up to be that person, but you're not taking it as serious, and Peter is paying for it just as equally of your actions as he is for his inexperience.
Great points, man. I couldn't agree more. Again, it's a very interesting relationship that I didn't think we'll get like that deep into, but it's fascinating.
Now,
so yeah.
That said, when Scorpion does break out and he like overloads to where like I think that pack is now like sealed to his skin.
Yeah, he starts overloading it. It gets really like again, because it's gamma, so like
yeah,
it's weird.
It's like a radiated energy. Yeah. He's definitely bonded with it, and Peter gets stabbed.
I said bonded like Venom, but yeah, Peter gets stabbed in the lung area, the right lung.
Of his body. I think like through here, which is usually fine because the heart's over here. So
yeah. Knowing anime, it's like if somebody gets like a hand plugged through their body, gets stabbed, and it's like, oh, it's on the left. Usually, if this happened, yeah, right. You'll be okay in anime terms, but like it hurts like a bitch. So Peter going through it, and I loved this scene where Peter is finally feeling fear for the first time. Wow, see that took fast. Peter finally feeling fear for the first time.
For the first time, fear's finally feeling.
And it was fascinating and tragic to watch here. He's struggling, crying out for Norman, who can't really respond to him until it's too late. But Norman does send a glider, wink, wink, to go.
That was already there.
That was already there. Again, we talked about it last week, how he had his secret group of scientists working on Peter's costumes. You can assume that secret group of scientists were also working on something for Norman. So it was another tease for Norman's goblin.
Yeah. Eventually. Well, I told you my theory was Harry might end up getting a bit jealous of Peter's favoritism over him, and that may lead to like I can help him. I could prove myself, and then he goes like, let me grab one of the suits from Oscorp, and then it's the Goblin suit, and then Harry becomes the Goblin, and that testing boundaries.
And I would love that, and how that would hurt Nico, like her best friends fighting each other. Ooh, wait, season 2, baby, season 2. That's definitely gonna happen. But yeah, Peter gets saved by the board. Gargan starts going wild. He starts wild, crashing out, as the kids say. And it was fun. What was I watching when somebody was like, oh, like you talking about somebody getting crashing out? Man, it was an anime. Never mind, sorry. But yeah, so it was very interesting seeing that happen. And yeah, and then at the end of that episode, that's pretty much it, I think. Let's see here. Oh no, yeah, we got to talk about we skipped over the Nico Harry date, which I thought was fantastic.
Ooh.
So during all this, Nico and Harry arrives at Nico's place to go apologize for how he was acting, or how he told like, hey, don't get mad at Peter. It was on me. I'm sorry. And I liked seeing how this apology worked for Harry, didn't really affect how Nico feels about Peter,
Which makes sense.
which makes sense. I thought it was very interesting. So let me see here. So yeah, Nico gets a lot of the spotlight, and she's able to process her feelings through the absence of Peter, and she's processing her feelings while getting closer to Harry in the process. Her opinion of him changes. He sees her at her house. She's hungry. They go get a pizza on top of the parking garage. Beautiful lighting, beautiful set. Like I love this whole scene here. Nico's able to see like how Harry is outside of his like Instagram, TikTok influencer status, and how kind he is of a person, really repping for Peter. But also, she's able to just see how nice he is as a person outside of Peter. It was just very fascinating, and it was very fun to watch. And then we got the car date as well. They're driving through the car, and we see a glimpse of Nico's powers bright up, like
Yeah.
for the first time. The pendant that she got from her grandmother, I want to say,
Right.
starts glowing during the race, and it's allowed her to like, it's not see ahead, but like
Like
briefly.
like it's kind of like a Peter Spider sense in a way, just like, hey, incoming danger, move this way.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
it's like that intuition of like, all right, you're in danger. Uh, your instinct tells you to dodge now. Like boom.
um, so yeah, again, I love the way this relationship was progressing and how she's able to see like who Harry truly is. And on the other hand, Harry's able to see like another side, not another side of Nico, but just understand her a bit more. Her issues with her family, um, and her relationships, and just getting closer to each other. It was just a very warm scene. I loved every second of it.
Totally.
So yeah, so their date was fantastic to watch. Very fun, fruitful, wholesome, heartwarming. All the positive words. Loved, 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 loved it. Um, and again, it just elevates these side characters. They hold more emotional weight if we're able to see them outside of Peter, seeing how they're dealing with a simple thing as not simple, but just like the identity thing. Nico has been so close to Peter. They've been best friends. And I said yesterday I might rant about it, but I'm tired now. I don't feel like ranting. But people were upset about this in terms of like Nico getting upset at Peter, and it's like, man, why is she wilding out? It's like, yo, Nico and Peter are very close, and it's just that simple. These are like what 13, 14, 15-year-old, 16, I don't know, 16-year-old
15.
kids, 15,
Could be
16.
17.
It could be 17, but Harry's driving their freshman year in high school, so like,
Yeah, 15.
15. So it's just like Nico holds her friendships dear. I think she said that even to Harry. It's like she holds her friendships close. She comes from a foster family. Peter's kind of like the only major friend she's really had. And he's able to share this with a new friend he made in Harry. Like, what the heck? Granted, she starts to understand Harry a bit more. So that like, she acquiesces that. But like, she's still upset about Peter, who wasn't able to tell her. And I love how Harry mentioned, like, well, I think he's also doing this because if he finds out, then his best friend, the person he cares about, you, Nico, you might get in danger. And Nico's like, well, it's not up to him, or something like that, something along those lines, where it's like it's not up to them to, Nico needs her own agency in the matter too. Peter just can't like do it on his own, basically.
Yeah.
He can't refuse to tell her on his own and just be like, "Oh, I'm trying to protect you." Like Nico didn't ask for that.
Right.
So I like that aspect of it all. So yeah, I think everything was completely understandable from Nico's point of view. And these are kids making mistakes and being mad at kid things. Like they don't have like the super maturity to be like, oh, I understand what Peter was coming from. That'll happen with due time. It just at this age, it just takes longer. That's it.
There is often an issue where in media literacy, which is the characters do not know that they're in a story and that how the things interpret and function. They're currently living through it. Just because we have experienced many a Spider-Man story and know the situation hardship of Peter does not mean everybody else does. And also, these characters are going through their own individual thing. Nico said as much. Being in foster care, she's worried. This could be a sign of Peter not telling her that she might end up being left behind, like she has been by many others.
Yeah. So she's dealing with her own emotional baggage, and I like that she's verbally talking about it. And we're seeing those layers of Nico's character. Episode 8, final episode of the batch here. Not much happens here, but it's very much a Peter Downer episode, which I think was very fruitful and important for us to see as he hits rock bottom, leading to the finale of the episodes where he'll rise above it. Obviously, storytelling, baby. And Peter's upset. He got his ass kicked by Scorpion. He faced near death for the first time. He wakes up in the hospital and, doesn't get the best reception from Norman, who is basically just like, as Nathan has been talking about, he tells Peter, you've been pulling your punches. You could be a lot stronger. And if you're not able to do what you're meant to do, Peter, something along those lines, I'm paraphrasing. But he's like, if you're not able to do like what I believe you can do, Peter, then I don't think this relationship with us can work out, basically. And that has Peter going on a spiral the entire episode because he feels like he's letting Norman down. And that's going to affect, his, mental state for the rest of the episode. So, yeah. I like that initial confrontation a lot.
Yeah, that's really good. The scene he has later when he gets home with May is really good. He still dodges telling what actually happened with him, but, they have an emotional heart-to-heart about Peter trying to, prove himself. It's effectively the scene in Homecoming when he loses his suit to Tony.
Yeah, great scene.
Good stuff there.
In the middle of this, we get the auto escape sequence.
Yes, that was
really, really fun. Yeah,
very good. Good showcase of Otto's genius, but also, it's very clear in this character that he has a hubris around that as well. How he still got caught, which we'll see in a second. But I loved seeing the different tech he had. His arms are around. They're not, in one sole like pack, but they are like around the shop and active.
They're very active. Already have like a mind of their own-esque kind of.
This wasn't as like intensely horror Evil Dead filled as Raimi's Spider-Man 2 scene, but like there was some intense fucking like dragging cops in terror.
Yeah, there was definitely some symmetry there because that scene, of course, is just iconic. It's so great. So there was definitely some parallels and symmetry there with that previous horror scene. But yeah, it's not as like horrific. They play even with the soundtrack and the music. I know some people were upset, like, why they play this for jokes or whatever. But I think we're in Otto's headspace here. As you said, he's very much filled with hubris. So they did like I think it's like jazz or some kind of like upbeat tempo music, just literally dancing along as people get brutally beat up.
I love the sound design where he puts like the noise canceling earbuds in and then knocks everyone out with the sonic wave. I forget what line he says, but like somebody was like, you're under arrest, like in like the last ditch effort, and he just like took him out. I was like, I hope that act of valor was worth it. and also, moved on.
There's a joke about like in the power of the sun in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, Norman said like I thought he has the capability of harnessing the power of the sun. Good stuff.
That was good. I think that was earlier, but yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, they were, and that was fun scene too because they were like going. That was how they unlocked how he was using gamma for the technology. But they did bring up tritium, which he also used in Spider-Man 2 for the sun. So that's
cool. Yeah.
But then he goes to walk out, and there's a full garrison of troops there, led by Ross, to arrest him under the guise of the Sokovia Accords. And
I
he's
was
like,
surprised. I thought he was going to get away clean. I'm like, oh wow. Like I was like, is he going to beat up Ross here? Like, what's going to happen?
yeah, I was like, okay. And then even then, he's about to just walk away, and I'm like, how are y'all ain't doing nothing?
Yeah,
But
why is
then,
he so confident?
yeah, but then Tony lands.
Yeah,
Iron Man
you
himself.
hear you hear AC/DC in the background. Kidding.
Yeah, well, there's some rock music though, which has been gone since 2012, which is so funny. That was so prevalent of his introduction for 3 movies, and
Yeah.
then they're like, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're done with it. I'm like,
We're
damn,
done
that was so
licensing.
yeah. That
Uh,
costs
but
money.
but yeah, Tony's around. It's the events of the Civil War. I think we are in the active state where Cap and everybody are on the run. And Tony's working with Ross to bring in individuals like Otto now under the Sokovia Accords.
This is interesting. We're in the 2017 timeline. It's been a year. And we're reaching towards 2018, which is the attack from Thanos. And I'm just like, is are they gonna mention that, or are we so far gone that attack won't happen? Probably.
No, I think that could for sure happen. I think in like the grand scheme, while Peter is instrumental to Tony's journey, in a sense, I don't think he's necessary for the course of actions to still happen as they do.
Okay.
Even though he is being forced at the very end of getting him in the game, I'm sure there'll be a different person in Tony's life in this universe to push him forward.
Exactly. I'm starting to think that they just won't mention it. I think like in season 2, or maybe in between season 1 and season 2, it'll just be like, oh, we're back, guys.
Yeah, if we're being honest, you may see like the ship invading or whatever, but it's like Peter's dealing with his own stuff, and like the Avengers got it, it's fine, and then like out of nowhere, fuck, everyone's dusting, like, oh shit.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that was just a very surprising Iron Man, Easter egg or cameo there. He goes on his Pearl study date, which doesn't last very long at all because Lonnie interrupts. And man, Lonnie back to back between Pearl and Peter, he's like cementing his allegiance to the gang. He tells Pearl like, "Hey, I owe it to them, or I gotta finish this out." Something along those lines, where it's like, "I gotta ride this out. I gotta finish it." And she's like, "Even if that sacrifices our relationship, you're willing to just ride this out with them. You can walk away now." Lon, like the place blew up. Why are you still with them? Like you can imagine a couple of them just left after that attack anyways. Why are you going back to them? He's like, I gotta write it out with them. I owe them now. It's like, no, you don't. Like they put you in this situation, and now you're saying you owe them. No, you fucking don't. So, man, it was sad to see. So he turned Pearl away, and then Peter tries talking to him with even less effort because he's like, you don't understand anything, Peter. Peter does. And it's just like, man, back to back, Lonnie's just like severing these relationships.
Yeah, it hurts. It's very good storytelling. But to that point, Peter is unsuccessful with Lonnie, and then he just mopes on home, and he left Pearl alone.
Right? I'm like, oh, wow. If I'm Pearl, I'm like, hey, Peter, you coming back? Hello? What the fuck?
And if it wasn't supposed to mean anything, why did we cut back to Pearl seeing an empty house?
That was weird. That was sad.
That is such a bummer.
What are you doing there, Peter? Come on now,
man. But it's okay because we go home and Uncle Ben's on the fridge.
Yeah, chilling.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, hey, look, it's something.
Yeah, we get like he looked younger than I thought. I'm used to like a white-haired Uncle Ben, but I think he had like colored hair or something. He's like a redhead. I don't know.
Which, like, sure. I mean, May isn't either.
Yeah, true. Lonnie doubles down on the 1/10th crew as they get help from Chameleon. This is interesting. We referenced how the driver during that sequence with like the unicorn group, the unicorn lady, she escapes. She gets out of the back of the car. The other 3 get caught. But one of the people was Dimitri. He had like the black hair, black goatee. That was Dimitri. Yeah. Dimitri's name is Chameleon. So he presumably escaped from prison. Oh, we saw that actually. She saves them. The unicorn lady saves them.
He's wearing a comic accurate looking mask, which is supposed to be his just normal head. But we'll see what may happen to him in the future.
Now I gotta ask Nathan, who did it better, this show or Kraven the Hunter?
Right now, in terms of like full blown accuracy, unabashedly, it is Craven, which is funny. Because I was like, fucking, I respect you for doing it.
Why was he so small though? He was looking up like Craven.
That is so funny.
That was weird.
That is so funny. He turns into Aaron Taylor Johnson, and he's a scrawny
He's
boy.
like, yeah, what are you doing there?
He's Steven First Avenger pre-serum. It's so funny.
It was so weird. I'm like, what are we doing?
Because like, how are you gonna actually pose? I mean, I have to imagine that maybe you'll get more treatment to have more access to. I'm speculating on a series that's dead.
What are you talking about? We're not getting Craven 2?
2 Craven.
Oh man, Craven the Furious. So yeah, they get help from Chameleon. Chameleon tells them about where Matt Gargan and them get their tools. He says you got to hurry up because shit's getting crazy with Otto.
This is already after he's been arrested.
Exactly. So I'm like, where are they going? You can probably assume though that this warehouse that they're going to is where Chameleon's probably going to be like, I wonder if I can get some extra shit. Even I think they'll just confront Chameleon again, or if they'll confront Scorpion. I mean, again in the next episode at this random warehouse that Chameleon laid out for them, and it's gonna be up for Peter to save the day there. But yeah, and then last scene of the episode, last 2 scenes, Peter talks to Norman again. He's like, I feel like I'm letting you down. And Harry again, or Norman again, this time says the quote where he's like, I believe you can be a lot better, Peter, but with your power comes great responsibility. And with great responsibility, with great power comes great respect. And I'm like, whoa! That's not the quote! Evil! But this is such great character writing for Norman and Peter. I really like this twist. Like, this took me by surprise more than like the action scenes or whatever. Like, this quote really elevated the show for me. I'm just like, oh, they're cooking here. They're really cooking here. It's such a simple change, but it says a lot about Norman and Peter's relationship. Norman, as we've been talking about, does care about Peter to a degree, also using him to a degree, not sharing everything with Peter, but also as a mentor figure, he's pretty much Peter's only big like male mentor figure. But he's a flawed mentor figure, and this quote is extremely flawed. This quote is encapsulates how, and Harry references it as so later on in the next conversation. But like that's how Norman grew up, having a rich status, able to move through the world by showcasing with great power, great respect, because he can back it up by tech, his genius, and his money. But that line of great power, great respect is prevalent towards Norman's upbringing, not Peter's. And the beauty of with great power, great responsibilities, that encapsulates Peter's upbringing with Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben understood where Peter was coming from. Hell, he raised the kid. So he's like, hey, this is how you should act, Peter, in every other interpretation. And it becomes a cornerstone of Peter's life. With great power comes great responsibility, especially following Uncle Ben's death. Granted, that changed this origin, but still, it's like you can imagine Aunt May saying the same thing. This Aunt May is saying the same thing to Peter. But it's so fascinating because like, whoa, that's not a great line for Peter to learn here. So I just loved this quote so much. And then Harry follows it up by Harry is not like, whoa, that's fucked up what he said to you. But he does say again, like, hey, that's how Norman was raised. So he kind of explains it to Peter. But he also says, Peter, you should also do your own thing. And that leads us to the ending scene of the episode. But yeah, what'd you think of this whole scene with Norman?
Great exchange. I honestly like that upon Peter hearing that and being left with those words, he doesn't look inspired at all. He doesn't look...
No.
I don't think he looks guilted, but he definitely just doesn't seem like that sits well with like who he is. He obviously realizes he's in a great position to, have these resources and to do more good, but ultimately he has to be Spider-Man. He has to be who he is.
Yes.
So, and I think that will be proven when he dons the new suit that he's about to get.
Yeah, I think Norman's suit, Norman saying this, it just goes to show how much Norman is influencing Peter and it's time for Peter to spread his own wings. And that starts, like you said, with the new suit. And I love the flash of like the iconic Spider-Man suit. I wonder what the design's really going to be. It's going to be red and blue, obviously. It's going to be traditional, but like how traditional?
I think they teased the poster of it
Oh,
already.
you did?
It's just classic red and blue Spidey.
Okay, cool.
I think a tiny spider like Homecoming, but it's like it doesn't have like the black accents like the Homecoming suit, but otherwise it's fairly 1-to-1.
Do we get any armpit webbings?
I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's built in because that was a retractable thing on the Homecoming suit.
Yeah, but overall, great episode. I'm excited to see how this series ends with the next 2 episodes tomorrow. Peter and Nico are going to get back together. They're going to be fine. Pico, exactly. Peter doesn't seem like how close Nico and Harry have gotten, so I wonder if we'll get into that. Where's Lonnie going to go? At this point, I just got to assume it's going to get darker for Lonnie before it gets better.
Is he going to end up in a situation where his skin gets bleached like Tombstone?
I think Big Donovan's either dying or like getting critically injured or something. Big Donovan is done this season. Big Donovan won't appear in season 2 is my theory. I think Lonnie is going to take charge of the 1/10th crew by the end of the season.
Imagine a situation like parallel, like Lonnie was able to save Big Don. Imagine if the roles are reversed and Lonnie needs help. Don could save him, but for self-interest doesn't.
Oh shit, Nathan cooking.
And Lonnie gets an accident but survives, comes back. My turf.
Yeah, fuck you. Oh, I love that idea, dude. I could definitely see that happening. I think Peter's gonna get over his crush over Pearl, maybe not.
I'm sure he's actively working. Oh, no, I don't know, because like they brushed shoulders, and he was very like, oh shit.
Yeah, he got really
ran away, but
Peter successfully beats up Scorpion. I think that'll be like the major fight in episode 10. 9, in 10. And what's gonna happen with Norman and Peter, man? Are we gonna see a big break in their relationship this season? I think we will in the next episode.
I don't think so. I think Norman will be taken aback by Peter going off on his own, but I think his actions will prove valuable for Norman and for Peter's morale. So I think it'll just like kind of strengthen their bond for the moment. And again, like I said, I think that could be a good setup for like, yes, I'm so proud of you. But like he really does kind of discount Harry like subtly throughout the season. So I think that'll build up more, even though Peter and Harry are friends, and that's always been the case. You start to sow that seeds of jealousy, and you try to do actions that don't pan out like intended.
So we'll see that. You think we'll see like Harry getting a bit more jealous? Because we've seen instances of Norman being like, "Leave the room, Harry." It's like, damn.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it's gonna be a full blown thing of just like he's like, he's not a fan of Peter or anything. But I think it might be like a situation where like it'll be a final. Yeah, like a final nail in the coffin. Like Norman will do or say something, and Harry will just kind of be sulking about it. And I think that'll be like, and he may be like left just with that for the season to just like, okay, so this is Harry will remember that type of notification, and then we'll head into that story beat in the following season.
Harry will remember that. What are you, telltale ass motherfucker? But what's it called? Any instance of Nico using her power again, accidental or otherwise?
Maybe one more, very subtle again, and I think it will be further explored next season.
Also, let's see here. Aunt May figuring out Peter's identity. Yes or no?
I think, based on this new form of storytelling, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no for quite a bit. I think they're going to keep the Spider-Man identity. Because, goddamn, a lot of people have figured out this season.
I know. Harry, Norman, Nico now. Harry, Norman, Nico. Peter knows. It feels like 3 feels like a lot right now.
That is a lot, absolutely. Which is funny because like of all the people I would have like entrusted for a random person to find out to help, I think Dr. Connors will be a good ally for sure.
Do we get any teases with anything with the science crew? They've slowly had some, consistent storytelling with like they're building the project.
They just introduced that they're bringing in test animals in, one of which they were showcasing was an iguana. So that's stepping stone.
So we might get a little bit more seed, obviously, with them. Dr. Connors just seems so like lovable right now.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Which will make it more tragic when she turns.
Yeah.
I wonder if she has a similar backstory with like being disconnected from family.
Yeah. Post-credit scene at the end of episode 10. Yes or no?
I don't think well, I don't know. X-Men 97 had one.
Mm-hmm.
He did. Marvel animation. I don't think What If has post-credit scenes, do they?
No.
I think you could. I think you could get a little tease for something. I think it'll be a villain tease. That's what I think. I think it'll be like a villain on their own, like about to unravel something. It would probably be Otto with the arms, if we're being real. Yeah.
Yeah. So Otto and Scorpion are our main villains. Big Donovan as well, side or small villain.
Or if they want to immediately follow up with the hairy idea of like looking through like suits, and you see the Goblin, so not the Goblin suit itself, but like a little like outline for like the print button to make the suit. I can see that.
You mean we see Harry walking down a hallway with his hands behind his back?
That wasn't Harry, but yes.
It wasn't, but we could see Harry doing that.
I'm glad you brought that up, Evan, because now I get to tell my annual tale of how I sat in the theater watching the promo for Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they had a ball of a symbiote suspended in one of those chambers, and that footage was just never publicly released. But there's photos of it.
Where'd you watch that from?
In a theater. It was like one of those like pre-trailer rolls, like we're here with the cast of Amazing Spider-Man 2 type shit. And they're going through, and there was a shot of the symbiote. I was like, cool. And I was there opening night, leaned over to my friend, and I'm like, the fucking symbiote, watch. And it's the big ass fucking rhino suit in the way. And I'm like, what did they do? You took it from me.
And then 3 years later,
he's in the lobster tank.
But okay, let's move on into Invincible, episode 4 here. Very fun structurally for this episode. Beautiful episode for Mark and Eve. The relationship is singing. Love it. Yes. Every scene together. Picture. Perfect. Love it so much. They go on a date this episode. They're in Paris. It's great. It's funny because like I always envision Mark being able to like fly anywhere in the world, obviously. But I never pictured that for Eve. I'm like, oh yeah, she's able to do that as well. Granted, she can easily fly, but it's like, wouldn't it take her like very long to go from Paris to wherever they are, New York, whatever?
I don't know. Maybe not. I'm sure they fly. I'm sure they fly fairly fast.
What's her speed? What's her speed level?
It's probably not Mark's because Mark's been training and pushing his speed. Though he was also taken aback at how fast Oliver was able to fly naturally, which was cool.
Yeah, Miltermine speed is just insane.
Yeah, but that said, what I was more taken aback by is like when they were sitting in Paris, I was like, "Can y'all afford a dinner in Paris?"
But, who's paying y'all? You live at home.
Absolutely, but then I also remembered Eve can manifest food.
That's true. So they're probably just living there some random, like, yeah. How good is her manifested food? Does it taste like blocks of shit?
No, I know. I'm sure it tastes well. I mean, that was like a big thing. It was like early on where like she was eating slop and then she made it into a fucking burger.
Yeah, funny as hell. Put some spice in that. You can carry some seasoned salt around you.
Evan, I would be the most gluttonous fucking person in the world if I use powers. Holy shit! Not just for food wise, but just making anything I fucking want. Oh my, it's over.
Yeah, it'd be a wrap, dog. Like, imagine how much money you saved. I went to the store today. I'm just like, God, I hate going to the store. It's ridiculous.
Eggs.
So much.
Just infinite eggs.
Right.
You don't even have to make a bunch to the store. You could literally just like, this ingredient calls for an egg. Crack.
Very funny. So did something happen before this date? I think Peter what? Something happened at the beginning of this episode. What happened?
Was
he attacked Cecil. What was he doing again?
he went to confront Cecil about the drone that was watching over his
Yes.
plane.
So the episode starts off with like, say thank you. Yeah, the episode starts off with Mark dropping in the drone at the
Pentagon.
crew. No, at the crew.
Oh,
Like, he
yes,
the crew and robot. We get some funny gag between robot and the robot himself with the monster girl. It's like, stop talking like that.
Stop talking through robot.
Yeah, very funny. And they're like,
but yeah,
we don't know where this is coming from, Mark. Like,
it's of Earth origin and it's sophisticated tech, but there's literally nothing else. And Mark is just immediately like, there's a great meme on Twitter where like somebody took a screenshot of Josh from Drake and Josh, and is like Mark every time there's a minor inconvenience, and instead of him saying Megan, he said Cecil.
Cecil. Dinkelberg.
Good. But,
Cecil,
yeah.
So then he barges into the Pentagon, and then Cecil's like, "What the fuck, Mark?" Like, Cecil's so tired of this shit.
He's tired. I really do enjoy Cecil's character because he does openly say whenever like, I am fucking scared every time this happens. Yeah, but he is also and frankly, Mark, Cecil is being proved right sometimes by Mark whenever he's this rash. It's like, dude,
like, I wouldn't do this. I don't believe you. It's like, well, now we're at an impasse because I didn't.
Now, it was funny after he left when he says to Donald, like, he thinks we're spying on him, and Donald's like, but we are spying on the Graysons. Yeah, but not with this Donald. Without this Donald.
Hell yeah, we are. It's funny. Right before he said it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Cecil is spying on Mark. And as soon as I said that, she was like, well, yeah, we are spying on him. Just down with this shit. So we don't know what this is. It's not good. But we didn't talk about it last week. Nathan did confirm, like, via the subtitles that, like, it is Langston Evie, whatever the fucking name is.
Langston Evie, yeah.
Which was Sterling K. Brown's scientist character from last season. So we'll be getting that from probably a different multiverse or whatever. But yeah, I still assume he's like spying on him for good. Good shit. But yeah, so then we go back to the date. Then he's like, "Where you been?" He's like, "I invaded the Pentagon." It's like, "Oh, okay, that's how your morning was." And then the date doesn't go long very well because the twins show up. I forget their name. I'm just gonna call them the Back to the Future twins over here.
They have some very like on the nose creative names.
Yeah, it's like Foot Crusher or something like that. It's weird.
Something like that, yeah.
But either way, they're like, okay, we stole the Declaration of Independence, oops, but also we needed that to help us against, this big, like...
There was a theory that the ink from the Declaration would fashion a bullet that could kill their leader, and I was like, that's funny. It didn't work. I think it kind of worked, but it didn't work well enough.
Exactly. Mark does not want to go at all. So, okay, fine, we're leaving. They open the portal, and then they just push Mark into it. He's so pissed.
He's so pissed. Now, I love this setup. It's always fun with time travel. They're like on their way to the thing, and then a portal opens up, and Mark's like, "Hey," grabs his clothes. Like, what do I do with my clothes? Takes them. That looks so somber. I don't know.
Yeah. Best not to ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened later?
This is a very compelling thing. So they have this. It's very like post-apocalyptic 1984 situation thing. But they end up getting captured, even though again Mark is in a situation of like, oh hey, these guys are just robots, whatever. Let me beat them up immediately. Mark, please assess situations first.
Right? It's like hey, we kind of wanted to be captured. Like, well, why didn't you say that? Like, you didn't really give us a chance to talk.
You're so quick, Mark. Jesus.
Like, Jesus
How old is Mark? 19?
What?
How old is Mark? Like 20?
19, 20, yeah. It's been at least a year in college so far, so yeah.
It's too young.
It's wild because he's gotten so much stronger. Episode 1 did a great job explaining how much stronger. Like, he can at least go toe to toe, at least for a little bit with Anissa. But it's like, man, or in best, I forget her name. But either way, it's Anissa, and he's so much stronger, but his intelligence still pretty low. Like, he should go to college like Eve and learn to use his powers better, think faster, think smarter. But yeah, they eventually get captured by the robots, and they lead them to their leader. And I was trying to think, I'm like, who is their leader person? I'm like, it can't be.
I was like
is
thinking,
it
I was like, I was like thinking, like, is it a Viltrumite? Is it somebody we know? Is it Mark himself? Like, what could this be? Is it an Omni-Man? Like, who could it be? Is it all of it? Fucking.
And we realize it's Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's the villain of this thing.
Bill, no.
Yeah.
Bill.
No, it's the bitch ass motherfucker.
Abraham Lincoln himself.
Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
It's Immortal, who you said last week you fucking hate.
I can't stand this character, dog. I love to hate him. He's okay. But I'm like, God damn, every appearance, you're an a-hole. You're an a-hole. So let's explain this weird ass setup. So apparently, and this is an awesome backstory. Well, kind of skipped over it already, but like the backstory that the twins tell us was animated very cool. I kind of like the silhouette backstory they told us. But either way, we get no like visual from this. We're just hearing it from Immortal, and he explains to us how Mark ran the Earth. He was in charge of the Earth. Yeah. He then left, put Immortal in charge. And when Immortal was in charge, things were going great until Mark left or something, and then he didn't know how to rule properly, and that's when he started like imprisoning people, killing people, becoming a dictatorship.
He was at his wit's end because the immortality caught up with his psyche, and he felt like the only way he felt he was able to get Mark back to Earth is if he caused this much commotion. But all in all, clearly that didn't work out. It just happened to be other people bringing Mark from the past, which he isn't aware of. He still thinks he's talking to present Mark, which I'm like, fucking, how little does Mark age?
It's the past / different universe, right? It's like I always think of it like a different branches or whatever.
It's a future that could have happened, but I think because Mark has now lived the experience, it won't happen that way anymore.
Exactly. Some things will change, some things will stay the same. That's how time travel works.
Mental anguish with dealing with time travel.
Yeah, big time. So it was weird as hell. I'm like, Immortal, you're blaming Mark for leaving, and you're like, okay, this Mark, whatever, good or bad or whatever, probably bad, left the world, and now Immortal just going crazy, crashing out, and blaming Mark about it, and now it's like, oh, you could, and everybody in the audience, the twins, Mark, they're like, why don't you just stop? And he's like, oh, no, I can't, because,
I can't just yield.
I can't yield. You have to die in battle. Please kill me. I'm like, what the fuck? Fuck off. I hate this motherfucker, man.
Mark was really like, can't you just throw yourself into the sun?
Right? Can't you just kill yourself? Or no, he's like, no, I have to go out. Like, I don't even know if he uses the word honor or whatever. It's just like,
but it is of that vein. Yeah.
It's in that vein where it's just like, you have to kill me. Like, you have to stop me. It's like, or you could just stop.
If your brain's this broken, do you care?
Right? Like, but I think you make a compelling point about like it's pretty much a lot of that has to do with like his immortality, losing a lot of like 4 of his past wives or loved ones, even more probably.
Fucking hundreds, he said.
Hundreds, he said. Yeah.
I like that. I do like that. That so account of immortality is very compelling. Like seeing someone so broken because they were broken time and time again for eons.
So it's just crazy. Mark doesn't want to do it. I'm like, how is Mark going to end this guy? But Mark just ends him because literally pulls his head out of his spine. And ends him. He's exhausted and pissed off.
But also, it's very unfortunate because it is immortal, and he can technically resurrect again. So Mark tells him you have to keep the body and the head separate. Which I'm sitting here, I'm like, Mark, throw the head in the sun. Just do it. Yeah. I know you feel terrible right now, but like that kind of has to happen.
So that was awkward, awful origin of events there for Mark at the beginning of this episode. And part of me is like, what was even the point of this whole storyline? Part of me feels like this works better as like in the graphic novel where you're just flipping the page, Mark goes through an event, and then Mark's going through constant events. But as a TV series, I'm like, how is this working? But I think part of me is just like, it's just another feather on the scale in terms of like Mark's his darkness, like him dealing with his darkness, which he dealt with a lot last season. As like, last season he was progressively going darker until he killed Langstrom Evie, which was, even then by accident. Like he was getting his buttons pressed. In this season, he's getting the darker suit. We know like the darker suit is emblematic of him going like darker, right? Like Peter Parker, Venom, black suit, whatever. But what's so fascinating is that Mark is just so like done with it. He's every time he just doesn't want to do it, but he's pressured into this. Sometimes he's pressured into it, or sometimes just on his own volition, as we see with Cecil. But like Mark in this case was definitely pressured into it, and he's just like, man, like he comes back like, am I a bad person? Like I just had to kill somebody else again. The second person he killed. It's weighing a lot on Mark.
Yeah, and I think that's good to know that it is weighing on him. Like he doesn't want to be this killer, but he keeps getting forced into these situations. I think it is very compelling from a character standpoint that Mark is somebody who, he accidentally killed Angstrom, and he's trying to instill in Oliver that like killing's wrong, and now he just had to kill somebody again, and if Oliver were to find out about this, then you have to level with him trying to, because Oliver being a young person probably like calling him out on hypocrisy, might go and try to kill again just because you say you can't kill but you still do it. There's that worry. It's just all these things that could easily tear things apart for Mark, and he just wants to live his life with Eve. And luckily it seems like he's getting back to it and starting to feel good with that montage, which was nice. But it is worrisome that he keeps ending up in this, like he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. Yes, sometimes he's making bad mistakes, but other instances he's just getting tossed stuff that he never asked for.
Yeah, and I keep seeing people being like, man, I don't fuck with Mark this season. I'm with Cecil on this. Like that's not how the way you're supposed to be absorbing this storytelling. Like that's cool if you do that, but like I don't know if this is like a Civil War point of view where it's like, who are you with? Like, because I think the show makes it pretty evident. Like, if you are in Mark's shoes, like you have to be empathetic to having a sound device in your head. If you're in Mark's shoes, and even if you understand where Cecil's coming from, granted, Mark didn't like. Was Mark hearing what Cecil went through, or was that just the audience? I forget now.
In terms of his backstory,
yeah, was that just us, or did Mark hear that as well?
Just us.
That was just us. But yeah, so like Mark has no fucking clue where Cecil's coming from. But like, if you're Mark and you have a sound device going off on your head, a person you trusted, that'll piss you the fuck off, wouldn't it? Like, come on. It's like having a shot caller on you. Come on, guys. That's bad. Yeah. That's bad. Granted, we understand where Cecil's coming from. Cecil doesn't have, the time of day to explain it to Mark because Mark is pissed off. But like, I understand where both of these characters are coming from. It's like, if you're best friend, if I saw Nathan getting like shocked to near death in front of me, and I'm like, hey, Cecil, I'm not gonna be like, well, Nathan, sorry getting shocked. I understand where Cecil's coming from, though. Sorry, bro. It's like, no!
You would be like, you'd be like the rest of the Guardians and help Mark.
Right. You'll be like, you'll rescue Guardians, you'll help Mark, you'll understand, you would dip, you'll leave. But again, great storytelling is that the audience knows this, the characters don't. That's how storytelling works. So like I understand where Cecil's coming from, I understand where Mark's coming from throughout this whole predicament. And Mark going darker is just such a fascinating thing, where it's like he's going darker, but it's also like he's regretting it at every turn, which makes it a bit more interesting here. I don't think he's going to get like super, super dark by the end of the season or anything, but he is going to have to confront dark things. There's Viltrumites attacking him. Is he going to have to kill these Viltrumites? Like, is he going to be able to do that, like, without sacrificing his morality anymore? Like, man. And again, I think Mark's going to be the hero who's going to be able to do both that Cecil can't. Cecil keeps saying, again, I got to be the bad guy, or be the good guy, or be the guy that saves the world. Like, Cecil is unable to, given his experiences and his age and his life experience again. Cecil can't do both, unfortunately.
Right.
But Mark is young; he can grow into the person that can do both. He's the main character, so that's the hero's journey for you. But yeah, you alluded to it earlier. I adored probably one of my favorite season of this entire favorite scene of this entire season thus far. The Mark and Eve beautiful montage, romantic as fuck, elevated by the flashbacks to each moment, a couple moments throughout the seasons of their connection. Mark saving Eve when they were in space, Mark and Eve on the bridge, Mark and Eve when they first met, like all throughout some beautiful music, great flying sequence. It was just so romantic and loving. It reminded me honestly of like Amazing Spider-Man 2, towards the end, where we get some great Andrew and Emma content there. Peter and Gwen, I mean. But yeah, it was excellent. I love me some superhero romance, and this is peak. I love how fast this relationship is moving. He says, like, I don't know if this is early, but I love you. I'm like, oh, okay, episode 4, I love you already, but it worked because they've known each other, as the montage was trying to say, is like they've known each other for so long now. Their relationship has just been, not hindered by the Amber thing, but just they've instead aside, but those feelings have been inside of each other throughout their entire, like, since they first met. So I just love their love. I love their love so much. And he says, I love you. And she's like, it's funny, but I love you too. It's like, wow. And then they had sex at the end at home. It was great, very funny, very good. The mom was like, what's going on in there? No, nothing's going on there. It's like, you got, maybe we should have a house. Like, you guys have, Eve had a house. What are we doing? But okay. Eve's back at home. Mark's back at home. It's like, y'all 20, move out. So it was very funny, and especially because they do they get paid from like Cecil or whatever they get paid? Like, come on.
I think they just get a living situation, and like people do make their meals. That was brought up by Rex and
Oh, we missed that, the Rex and Ray, dude. I loved it.
Yeah, that's good
Rex
stuff.
and Ray opening. Oh.
Rex is taking a step back and like, all right, you know what? She cares about this. Let me put an effort in.
I was like, let's go. I love their relationship. I would watch an hour of Rex and Ray shopping, going to the mall, watching a movie, Rex throwing weird jabs. Like, yo, this is my shit. I love casual superheroes. I just love casual superheroes. And Invincible does that so well. We're just casual shit, human goes flying, and you're just like, oh my God. And then they got to go into it. We go to work. And it's
well, Evan, if you love that, then you should check out Time Blazer, an original series I'm making with co-star creative consultant Evan Harris. The show isn't over, but yeah,
that's great. So yeah, second half of the episode, while Mark and Eve get busy, Alan, the alien, and Nolan are, Prison Break. Schofield. That's from the Prison Break show. Great first season, bad season 2, 3, and somehow they did 4 seasons of that Prison Break show. But anyways, they escaped in season 1 and they had 3 more seasons. That's television for you.
Did they not end up back in there?
Season 3 was a different prison. Season 2, they were on the run. Season 4 was like season 4, they were hired by the cops to break into something. I'm like, stop.
Okay.
Yeah. So season 2 was okay because they were just on the run the entire season. Season 3, they get caught, sent to a Mexican prison, and they gotta escape again. Season 4, they get hired to break into someplace else, and it's like a heist thing. I'm just like, it was bad. It was weird.
Well, at least they made it into the Arrowverse.
Yeah, they found each other again. Man, he was a good Captain Cold, full of camp. I loved it.
I forget the one's name, but he's really great on Legends.
Yeah, he was great on Legends. He understood the assignment too, with that voice. But yeah, Alan the alien and Nolan escape from prison. We see the return of Battle Beast as well this episode. The second half is they explain like what Alan and the alien's been going through, but like we kind of already knew what happened. I don't think that we learned anything new. But it was still a funny montage about like setting everything up there again because it has been a while
Yeah.
Since season 2. So I like the flashback there, explaining more of the comedy for Alan the alien's point of view, and explaining Nolan. He's been digging deep trying to get Nolan to escape. Stop trying to sacrifice yourself. That's mainly what the flashback was for. And then Nolan says like, I think I missed my wife, which we heard about earlier last episode. And then when he's leaving, he tells him like goodbye, friend. And that alerts Alan like, okay, he called me friend. I'm doing it. I'm breaking out. It's time. And the whole prison escape sequence was just fun as fuck.
Totally. Very fun.
It was just incredibly fun.
A great little thing of like, so Alan gets his ass beat at a point by a Viltrumite, and you're like, oh no, that is he not all invincible as we thought? But then later, Nolan's like, wait, you look fine. He was like, yeah, I may have been like playing up my vulnerability.
Yeah,
like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was funny as hell. Because they send 2 Viltrumites to go finally execute Nolan. The Viltrumite ritual was that like, hey, we're gonna heal you up and then we're gonna beat you up and kill you. Okay. Yeah. So they do that. Nolan's pretty much like, you're willing to die here. Alan the alien comes in. He's like, this isn't your time, buddy. Basically, and they he starts beating up the Viltrumites here. He brings Battle Beast, and the whole Battle Beast montage of him just killing like, where are these like you promised me some enemies I could fight, some actual good enemies. The prison guards aren't shit, and they ain't doing shit. But then the Viltrumites happen. So Battle Beast takes one out, starts fighting one while Alan the alien and Nolan fight the other. And these Viltrumites, these randos, like they were going in for a minute there. Yeah. It took Alan and Nolan to fight them.
I feel bad that Alan released every prisoner to fight, and they all got wasted.
They all got wasted by like the prison guards were wasting them, and then the Viltrumites, and then like it was like, oh wow, I think did someone live? I think maybe, but
but
it was
it was a really really good prison break. And when all the dust settles, it's like, oh hey, we need to get out of here before the reinforcements arrive.
Let's talk about the boom, the head crushing from Alan and Nolan coming in. Oh my god!
Damn,
that was awesome. That was awesome. Like if I go out like that, man, you guys have permission to laugh. Like man, your head getting squished.
To laugh.
That was shit. Bad. That was bad. And then Battle Beast continues fighting. I forget how Battle Beast kills his dude. What does he do? I forget the kill from that one, but Battle Beast wins, I think. And then Battle Beast.
They lost him.
Oh, did they lose him?
I think so. They were like, where'd he go? He was just here.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, maybe I just make that up then. So yeah, Battle Beast and the other guy just drifted off into space. I'm like, okay, wow. I assume Battle Beast wins, right? Okay. You don't take out Battle Beast off screen. And yeah, you'll probably need his help eventually to kill these Viltrumites. But yeah, now they have a big prison barge. It's funny. I'm watching this. I'm like, why do all prison ships in like sci-fi look the same? Like even in Star Wars, prison ships like look the same. Like these big, trash, upside down, like triangular barges. Yeah. So it was just funny. But we learned something big. Nolan agrees to help out Alan. They agree to go off, and Nolan like, there's a big secret here. There's not thousands of Viltrumites. There's not hundreds of Viltrumites. In fact, there's less than 50 Viltrumites in the galaxy right now. Wow! Like the Viltrumite Empire that was so, feared, that we were fearful of in the beginning of season 2 when they did this whole like backstory on the Viltrumites, how they are every planet and multiplying and all this stuff. Less than 50. Why is that? I guess I don't know yet. I guess we'll figure that out. But less than 50 Viltrumites. One of my friends who reads the comics, he's like, the review is kind of interesting. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, less than 50. And it kind of makes sense. Somebody put on like a montage on Twitter where it's just like, oh yeah, they have prison guards that aren't Viltrumites guarding their prisoners that are Viltrumites, like Nolan. They only send 2. Even when they're attacking Nolan, they sent like 3. Like we've only seen them in batches like 2 and 3, and some repeat themselves. So it's like, wow, like okay, that's a big secret. I wonder if the secret Viltrumite, voiced by like the Optimus Prime guy, that was talking to Alan the alien, like, does he know about that Viltrumite secret? Was he withholding from Alan? Because he's also a fellow Viltrumite. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I'm liking Nolan this season, man. He's a homicidal, not even, what was it? He massacred thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I'm just really liking his character. That's why I love comic books. This guy can kill 3 million people, but I'm like, hey, he can be good again. he can help out Mark.
We know that like, well, he can never like live on Earth again, but
yeah,
if he goes find peace somewhere like on that bug planet, then all good.
All good. Like, how is he going to interact with Mark and Oliver and Debbie? I mean, that's gonna be interesting. But overall, great episode. We'll talk about. Do you have anything else before we leave, or?
No, I think that's some good stuff. It's exciting. Like I perked up hearing that there was less than 50 because I was like, oh, fighting chance. We could do this.
Alan the Alien, Nolan, Mark, Eve, like Oliver. Eventually, he's going into that. Oliver's kind of like the kid Homelander. Like he's like the secret sauce that could be like eventually like we could use him down the line. But yeah, so interesting stuff going on. I can't wait for episode 5. Have we got any teases? Let me see if there's any Invincible episode 5 teases. Usually they like to tease like what's happening this week or whatever.
I went on Amazon and I was shocked to see that they have the thumbnails and titles for all the episodes.
Yeah, I was like, and my eyes already saw it. I'm like, but luckily they're like nothing spoilery. But yeah, nothing.
What do you mean Mark lives?
Oh, this week on Invincible. Okay. So Mark goes in to help out the Stone dude, the leader at the guy. So the dragon guy came to like the Stone guy, was like, hey, free Mark the clone, or like the Mark guy that was beating up Rex, free him. And the guy was like, hey, we don't want to do that. That was like episode 2 or 3, whatever. Mark is now presumably going to help with that escape, I guess. There's a dragon fight scene, Mark and Eve here. It looks fun. It looks fun. So I just retweeted it. People want to go to my Twitter. So it's going to be Mark and Eve helping out, reluctantly helping out people. So could be fun. I love me some Mark and Eve action. But anyways, we have an hour and 30 minutes. We are 30 minutes in. If you're still watching this, we're here. We're going to dive deep into Captain America, Brave New World, the latest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some people might say it's the worst movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They'll be wrong. This movie, directed by Julius Ona, director of Loose, that I really love. It's still his best movie, obviously. Go watch Loose if you have not already. It's with Kelvin Harrison and the guy from Incredible Hulk. What's his name? Tim
Roth.
Tim Roth, excellent in that movie as well.
The Abomination himself.
Yes. Speaking of Abomination,
hey,
this movie is baffling. No.
Hey.
This movie is not. No, I didn't mean it like that. Let me cook.
Now, Evan.
Let me cook.
No,
I didn't mean this movie is an abomination.
All right. Well, you did. You did frame it very bad.
That was bad. But I was gonna say, speaking of abomination, we're talking about Captain America: Brave New World, which is a sequel to The Incredible Hulk for all intent and purpose. 17
years on.
Weird. That's what I'm gonna say. It's baffling. Again, I watched this movie twice. I told Nathan off stream. I watched it on Thursday. I gotta watch every Marvel movie on Thursdays as much as possible. And then on Saturday, I watched it again with my mom.
It's crazy, Evan. This is not on purpose. It was just happenstance of like going to see with a friend. But like this is the first in years I haven't gone opening night, and I feel like a shell of a man. But I went on Valentine's Day with the homie, and I went to go see it. And Evan, if I told you this was my favorite movie on the MCU,
you'd be lying. I know. Stop doing this, Nathan.
Would I?
Stop doing this. Talk your shit.
Would I?
I don't even, Nathan last stream at the end, he said like, we probably saw each other's letterbox. I didn't see your letterbox, dude. Let me.
Oh, he's got to read it live. Let's go. So, I stopped.
Whoa!
All right, yeah. Now we're talking spoilers, and that's there's some spoiler bit in, so it's fine. But yeah, if you want to read it, if you would like to read it, does it say 4 stars?
It does say 4 stars.
Because I removed that.
Well, letterbox is like gone but not forgotten.
All right, you bitch ass, bitch ass app. God damn it.
Caught in 4K, motherfucker.
I mean, I'll give it to it.
But now when I click on it, I see the orange star, motherfucker.
There you go. Now go refresh your page.
I can't. How you refresh? Fucking
pull down.
Captain America. I don't know. I refresh and it still says 4 stars. At least under like friends who rated it.
Yeah.
Watched by at least. I think looking at this, we have a lot of the same positives.
Right on.
Yeah. Talk your shit.
All right. I do have it ranked in my MCU, I guess.
No way. No way you don't.
No, what?
You had this ranked already?
Yeah, I did rank it in my MCU list. I was like bouncing back and forth, but I did rank it. And hey, you know what? I have been looking forward to seeing a Sam Wilson-led Captain America film for years.
Agreed.
I got that. I am not disappointed with anything in regards to Sam. I think it was a hell of a time. I think Anthony Mackie is charismatic as hell, just as much as ever. I really love his chemistry with Torres, the new Falcon. I think they are a great duo. I mean, they already had like a nice rapport on Falcon Winter Soldier, but it's just cemented here. I really, really enjoy this guy, and he had a great heartfelt scene toward the end of the movie, laying in the hospital bed. Good stuff.
I gotta admit, my brother and I were laughing when
dicks.
Full spoilers for Captain America: Brave New World. Full spoilers. So if you have not seen it, like and subscribe, and come back, watch it, and be here. It made $100 million on the 4-day. 88 million. I said 85. I was $3 million fucking dollars off.
I said 215. I was close.
You were very close. I went under. You went over. It's okay. Yeah, we'll see how it does second weekend. That's very interesting. Anyways, box office aside, I full cap when the guy was like, you know what? When I was on TV and I saw the heroes, I didn't want to be Cap. I wanted to be like you, Sam. I wanted to be Falcon. Fuck off! No, you don't watch.
He didn't say Falcon. He didn't say I wanted to be Falcon. No, he didn't. He said I wanted to be like you, a hero.
He was Falcon.
So?
It's bullshit.
Okay, motherfucker. Coming close. Right now. Right fucking now. Now, look me in the fucking eye, and you equally believed Kate Bishop saw Hawkeye in all the Avengers and was like that one.
Yeah, well, yes.
Okay, so then this is possible.
She sees Hawkeye save her family, right? He had a personal connection, right? She was in the building, Hawkeye like saved some bullshit or whatever. She sees Hawkeye save some people. She's like, you know what? I could do that shit. Okay. Get out of here. It's like this guy's watching TV. He's like, I want to be Falcon. Imagine you're watching. He had to have been watching some bullshit, Civil War. I don't know what the fuck he was watching when he saw Falcon on TV. But like either way, he's watching Winter Soldier or whatever.
That was definitely covered. The fucking fucking dig down of the fucking helicarriers.
The helicarrier. He's like, I want to be that guy with the wings. Hey, to be honest, okay, maybe Sam was cooking during that flight sequence. He was cooking Winter Soldier. He was cooking.
That was one of my favorite entrances of a hero at that time. Was
where he's like
when
boom,
he lands
boom,
with the wings.
He flies off with his wings and like his back turn. That was pretty sick.
He's the coolest.
Yeah. We could do without that word.
Right.
But
I'm sorry. I'll turn down my Josh. Drinking Josh-isms.
I forgot that was an ism. You might have alerted Derpy there. But Man, that was just. I was like, I said a bit loud in the theater. I was like, "That's Cap." You wouldn't say that.
That is Cap. That's our Cap.
I know.
You can't stop.
But yeah, Torres was solid in this movie. I like the relationship. I'll be completely honest. I forgot he was ever in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But he had a fun relationship here. I like Danny Ramirez. He's a very lovable person on screen and off screen. Very fun, jovial person. And he just works. His chemistry really works with Sam. Sam is. I'm so conflicted on this. I think Sam's relationships in this movie are very solid. His relationship with Danny or with Torres, fun, likable. Relationship with Harrison, charged, yelling. They're both great actors, so they're both like great dynamic with each other.
Yeah.
However, I'm with you. I've waited so long to see, not so long. He's only been Captain America for a couple of years now, but I've always wanted to see a Sam Wilson Captain America movie, even like reading the comics. And
he got the Shield in comics in 2014. It's not that long, and he got the Shield from Steve in 2019. It's been a number of years.
Yeah, and I am disappointed though. You wrote this in your review. I agree completely. This is like an extended episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think this movie might work better if you had not watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. Maybe, I don't know, but it's just like nothing new. And I've seen this twice now, guys. It's like I tried the second time watching it. I'm like, is there anything we're learning about Sam Wilson alone? Not his relationship to Torres, not his relationship to Harrison. What are we learning about Sam Wilson? What is he growing upon following the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier? It's like, we get it. You're not Steve Rogers. We get that. One of the more baffling scenes to me is his scene with Bucky. I can't tell if that's a reshoot or not. It feels reshoot-y, but like he just finished doing one of his biggest feats as a hero, which was that entire Celestial Island save. He hats off. S rank, S tier. It's probably my favorite scene in the movie, action-wise. It was great. He did let down. He did fail to save Torres. It wasn't really on him, but I could see why he's taking the blame for it. But his response to Bucky was like, "Man, I should have took the serum, and I'm not like Steve." And I'm like, it doesn't sound like the right kind of thing to say at that moment. If he was not out of character, but just out of place in that scene. I'm like, why are you saying you can't be Steve, even though Steve couldn't have done what you just did in the Celestial event? It feels weird to me.
I'll tell you right now. I think I agree with you on that point, because we already tackled that plot in the show. The serum, like, maybe I should take the serum. Should I not? And do we have a whole montage of him building himself up in his athleticism and his capabilities to be able to wield the shield and, do all of these capabilities to be Cap, to be enough. Yes, you're going to fight some more intense things here and there, but that doesn't change anything. That never stopped Natasha or Clint, or any of the other street level people. Like, and frankly, you have like a hell of a lot of enhancements with these vibranium wings and the shield, and you're hella capable. And I think the fact that, and I think this is evident in the movie that we're watching as well, the fact that you are able to go through all of these trials with your limitations of humanity just shows how capable of a hero and a leader you can be.
Exactly. And I think what the writers were struggling with here, because even though we went over that, they're like, do we just go back to what he was struggling with in Falcon Winter Soldier, which is what they do, or like, what else could he be upset about in this moment? They were struggling to find a reason for Falcon to be upset following the Celestial action sequence. But I think what he should have been upset about, not take away the whole "I can't be Steve" or whatever. Am I the next Captain America? Like, stop that. We've already discussed that.
That's episode 1.
That's episode 1 shit. But like, you could have been upset about like his stuff as a leader, his stuff as like a friend and ally, like something along those lines. Like, I just think the writers chose a bad reason to portray Sam's anger at himself. Like,
even if you made it like, Yeah, even if you made it just like any other situation with a hero, it's just like I didn't see all the variables, and I should have, even though every hero, like, there's no way you could have seen.
Yeah,
And like,
exactly.
yeah, you can have that moment, you can have that that survivor's guilt, even though Torres does survive. It, like, the fact that he is in this critical condition is enough to weigh on you, and that is enough of a drive, for sure.
Exactly. And he could have been they could have used this to elevate his dynamic with Ross as well, where I like their dynamic. And like Ross was the reason this whole incident happened in the first place. He ordered his ship to go attack or to race to the Celestial Island to beat Japan. And then he already sent two, or he didn't send the two fighters out there. They did that because of Stearns. But it was just like this whole incident was jump started by Ross. I think he could have been like, damn it, Ross. I trusted him. People said I should trust him, but I didn't trust him. Like, they could have used that to elevate that entanglement to leading to the climax. Because in the climax, he's not even there initially. He's at the hospital, turned around, Stearns there, then he has to fly over to help out against Hulk. It's just like they were too disparate leading into the finale, which was weird to me.
It is so I think it's no doubt this feels like you put a Cap film and a Hulk film in a blender.
Yeah. It's just so baffling to me. Why are we referencing Hulk like it happened last week? This happened 10 to 16 years ago. What are you doing?
It's funny, right? I mean, like, if this were just a Hulk film and you just put Bruce in the conflict against everything going on with Ross and stuff, that's a solid Hulk film.
Solid Hulk film, yeah.
We have payoff with other characters and shit. Like, yeah, it's good stuff.
But they were acting like this shit happened recently. I'm like, why are we learning about this in 2008? Like, or from 2008? It felt weird. Like, granted, I get it because, like, in the present tense, like, this guy's a president now, so they're bringing up shit that happened 16 years ago. That's what would happen if he's president. Or if somebody's becoming president, they're going to bring shit up that happened a while ago. But it just seemed weird to me. Like, this is your, in the MCU, like Kevin Feige, like, this is your solution to this movie. You're just going to make it stuff about Hulk? Why? It felt weird. It's like you can't find. Granted, Cap doesn't have the biggest rogues gallery in the fucking world, but like they could have done something. Like,
I mean, if you wanted to build up the Serpent Society stuff and flesh it out, you could have done that.
Yeah, people made jokes about that. Like, hey, are we just doing Serpent Society? Could have worked.
But also, they didn't really. They didn't really do anything with that.
They called him Serpent for no reason whatsoever, outside of just like Serpent Society. See, guys, like, why was he called Serpent?
He was like, I think Serpents was in reference to the group. He himself is not.
Why were they called Serpent?
Because they're the Serpent Society.
They like snakes, motherfucker. Like,
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah. So my biggest complaint about this movie, though, is like, Sam. This isn't. We're not getting a lot of Sam. That's one of my major complaints. 50% of this is like we're not getting a lot of like internal Sam stuff. Sam's just upset about not being Cap, and a lot of his movie is just him back and forth with Torres.
Ross is almost like a co-lead in a sense.
Yes, he is, and that's why my second complaint, one of my bigger complaints, is the character of Ross. Now, I explained this. It's a weird comparison, but I'm gonna bring up Lord of the Rings, the animated Lord of the Rings film that we saw recently. I think you saw it too, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird comparison, but immediately when I saw this movie, I thought of a similar criticism I had with that movie, where in that movie, the main villain, if people haven't watched the movie, it's not really a spoiler, but like the main villain is a childhood friend of somebody else, of the main character. The main character throughout the movie is like, hey, you're not usually like this. Why are you acting this way? But the main villain to us is just like crashing out the entire movie. He gets progressively more evil. And I'm like, we should see more flashbacks explaining and elevating why this character is the way he is. In this movie, my main criticism of Ross is like, everybody, it's big on tell, not show. Where this movie keeps on telling us from the beginning, Ross has changed. Or Ross is in the process of changing. Hey, Cap, give Ross a chance. And in this movie, Ross just makes progressively more bad decisions. And in my opinion, I'm not seeing this Ross that has changed or I'm not seeing even an ounce of a different Ross here. And I don't know if that's like if that is the point where it's just like, hey, Ross has always been like just an a-hole. He makes mistake after mistake after mistake, whatever. But then they keep inserting this whole Betty storyline to elevate like the emotional weight of his character and why he's doing this. They even insert like, I have cancer, god damn it. But I'm not feeling the emotional weight behind his decision making or anything like that. He's getting manipulated for 90% of this movie. And I'm just not with like this whole Ross that has changed. His advisor, the black woman, is like, hey, give Ross a chance here. Go talk to him. Give Ross a chance. At the beginning of this movie, people are like, even Cap is like, even Sam is like, Ross has changed. I'm gonna talk to him. He invited us to the White House, but I'm like, how has he changed? What has he done since Incredible Hulk or Civil War? Like, how has he become president now? It's like, what good has he done? What change has he done, if any? And it's just weird for me. And a big criticism, like the emotionality of this movie behind his actions, is just non-existent for me. They keep trying with this Betty stuff. I think it falls completely flat. We know Betty is supposed to be in this movie more. That is clearly a reshoot. There's a trailer where we see Betty at a funeral. She was in this movie, guys.
There's a whole funeral scene cut.
She was in this movie. I think Betty should have been inserted. Again, it's weird because it's the Incredible Hulk thing. But like, and Betty's not talking to him because of what happened to Banner. Are we fucking serious? Like, again, it's been 16 years. You expect me to believe Betty Ross is upset about her father for 16 years? Are we really doing this, guys?
I could believe that.
I could if Betty was a character in the MCU. She showed up in 2008 Iron Man, in 2008 Hulk, and now she's here.
Okay.
It's just like, insert her progressively throughout the movie. Let me see one of those walks down the cherry blossom that you talked about. Like, let me see
I'll give credit.
Like,
yeah, I'll give credit that like I really didn't think I suddenly didn't think she was gonna pop up past the phone call.
I didn't think the phone call was real. I thought that was like Stern's phone call. I was like, is that really Betty?
Oh Jesus!
Maybe, I guess it is Betty.
No.
And then they show up at the end. I'm just like, their connection completely falls flat for me.
Yeah. So in talking about this, I'm interested. I think like the core idea is that Ross is at a point in his life where he is truly trying, because of death's knocking on his door. He wants to make things right with his daughter before he leaves. He wants to be around and have better times with her. And I think he is genuinely in a state in his life where he is trying to be a better person, trying to change, but the consequences of his past are unveiling themselves to bite him in the ass and effectively making it more difficult to do that until everything comes crashing down. He does take accountability and turn himself in at the end, which, like, okay, notable. I think there is like a two-sided coin. Like for one, this is really the first time in the 5 other appearances that we've seen Ross that he's actually given an arc. He doesn't really have too much in Incredible Hulk. He does kind of like take a step back from hunting Banner, but it's
he's an obstacle.
Yeah, he's an obstacle, and then he just kind of briefly pops up in Civil War as an obstacle, and he has like maybe like 2 minutes collective screen time in Infinity War and Endgame. Briefly in Black Widow, just a part of the Sokovia Accord hunt down.
He's in Infinity War?
Yeah, it's like one quick scene when Cap gets back to the compound with Rhodey. He's on like a video call.
Okay. He's in Endgame during the funeral.
Just a funeral, yeah. And then there's a little bit in Black Widow that's in between the time of Civil War. It's whatever. And now we have the actual like first emotional arc for him. And unfortunately, due to reality, he's played by a whole different actor in doing so. And that is a whole other can of worms that like you have Liv Tyler back playing Betty, who now is her 2 most valuable main characters that she acts against have both been recast in this universe.
Weird, yeah.
So that's a whole thing. But it's like I can see how they could do stuff with that, but again, without having this center more around a Hulk film with Bruce, it
There's only
feels
so far we can go.
yeah, only so far because there's a lot of like Fuel of Gamma stuff. The fact that Stearns is here as well, who is also fucking Hulk villain, like it's all Hulk stuff. So it's tricky.
It is tricky, and again, I'm seeing it, and people were coming out saying like Harrison Ford is the best part of this movie, and he's really good with what they give him, but like they try to portray him as this complicated character, and he's not that complicated. Like, work with me, Sam. Trust me, Sam. And then he's like, "Oh, go home, boy." And it's just like, what are we doing here? And then like again, they keep saying like listen to Ross. Like Ross has changed. Like, has he changed? Like that was the whole theme of this movie. It's like, has he really changed? Has he not changed? But he turns into Hulk against his will. But then like his humanity does shine at the end. It's like I can see what they're trying to portray here, but again, for me, it just falls flat. I'm not getting it. You're telling me. You are just telling me how complicated he's supposed to be. You're telling me about his relationship with Betty. You're telling me about his relationship with like what he's done over the past couple of years to have changed. You're fucking telling me, but I'm not visually seeing anything that has happened. Like
Sure.
you're just getting more and more manipulated and dumb. Even when you're not being manipulated, you're making dumb decisions. I got to race to the Celestial Island to do some bullshit, start a war. I was a wartime general and I'm a wartime president. Okay, but it's like bar. But like I'm not getting that complicated nature that I think they were trying to want with this character. I'm just not getting that complicated character. He completely falls flat to me, despite Harrison trying his best in every single scene. He's great. I think he's excellent during the celestial sequence where he's like getting progressively angrier, and seeing that like progression was really interesting. But like I just wanted more from Ross. I think it's just like a lot of the emotional weight just isn't felt, and yeah, it's just I wanted more from Ross. But I also, one of my main weaknesses that was even more evident my second time, this dialogue in this movie is baffling to me. And I think this is one of the clearest examples of reiteration in the dialogue in this movie. A lot of this movie is just like stuff we already know getting repeated. I think one of the more egregious scenes is when he talks to Giancarlo Esposito when they go to prison. He's like, "Tell me who you found." He was like, "Oh, I found this person. Where is he at? Oh, he's at X, Y, and Z. What's he doing? He's doing X, Y, and Z." It's like a lot of this dialogue is just very simple. Even when he's talking to Stearns, when Sam's talking to Stearns, it's just like, "Oh, so you're the one in charge of this, who did this, 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 and then you did this, right?" And then literally you have Stearns be like, "You're right. I did that." And
yeah, it's like you did this.
What am I watching?
It
felt so like cookie cutter.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's definitely points there where it's like, what's the situation? This is the situation. Why would you do this? What's my motive? Ah, yes.
Yeah, it felt like I'm like,
you're not gonna get away with this. I already have.
Yeah. It's like,
right on.
What is the dialogue is very simple.
There's a whole interesting thing with Stearns. I've been seeing a lot of the concept art going around of like he looks more traditionally like the leader, but they decided to go with a more like mutated flesh look, which isn't very visually appealing at all.
Not at all. But let's talk about the very unsatisfying villain. An unsatisfying villain is par for the course with the MCU. Yeah, they're a dime a dozen. I'll still respect people. I think Zemo is underrated in Civil War. I like Michael Keaton. Thanos, of course, is an excellent villain. Killmonger, excellent villain.
Yes.
Trying to think of the last great villain. I liked Namor in Black Panther 2. I think he was a very solid villain as well.
Yes, Namor's a great villain. I think forget his name in Guardians 3. He's a good villain.
So good. He's simple. It's a simple villain, but like elevated by like James Gunn, like just nailing how freaking terrifying and awful he is.
His performance, the actions that he has committed, and his reasoning are all like a great cocktail of menacing. Pure
menace. But yeah, this guy He did nothing for me, Nathan. It's like, really? And again, for a Hulk movie, maybe, but for a Captain America movie to be fighting this, like, and they wanted to make this a political thriller, which we'll talk about that. I'll say it right now. This movie's not a political thriller at all. It's a thriller, but you're not seeing anything politically that is not like
there's no like public, there's not much public.
No,
Which has been like a bit. That's a big thing in like a lot of these movies. Like they don't really showcase the public's reaction to things. That's a big prop I give to Sam Raimi with Multiverse of Madness. Like he has heroes saving people around the action, that like, and seeing their reactions to the stuff happening.
That's a great point, man. I think people forget, like, when it comes to political thrillers, it relies heavily on, like, you know, people hear the word political thriller, they think like espionage, but a lot of it is another P word, public. Like the public has to be, the viewpoint of the public has to change throughout a political thriller, not just the main character, but the viewpoint of society and the public has to somehow change throughout the political thriller. That's why Winter Soldier, as simple as it is, I would still kind of call it a political thriller because people's perceptions of Captain America as a hero change. People's perceptions of authority change throughout the situation. Not just Cap. Cap is changing as well, but also the public and the idea of how their society, the hero society, is slowly adjusting. Hence the Senate meeting at the end of the movie. It's showcasing how much society has changed. But this movie, it's like we're not getting much of that besides like a press conference with the president. That's about.
Do we care? Does anyone care?
Yeah, right. But yeah, Stards again, just underwhelming.
And I will say, in fairness, you know, I think we are at a point where this could have been a great use of a film to have a chance to say something about our current state of the world. And I think very much Disney is likely wanted to be as safe as they can to not upset any side.
Oh, Disney? Really? I didn't understand
that.
What?
You? No. Yeah. But yeah, and that is unfortunate that there's some hollow bones to, you know, the first Sam Wilson Cap film. But yeah, that is negative. We started talking about the leader. He is underdone for sure. He doesn't have too much to do other than like, I've set things in motion because I see all.
Yeah, again, the dialogue really lets him down here too, because like he's not that smart. Like when he initially calls, who was it? Like somebody, Falcon and Torres immediately trace him there. They get to him. He's like, "Oh, there's an 80% chance that you would not come to me if your guy was attacked in prison. I thought you would turn back around, but you didn't. And now you're here." And if Cap was like a smarter character and just knocked him out initially when he met him, the movie's over. But like, they have to find a way to write that out where it's just like, "Oh, I got attacked by some random goons."
Yeah, but I'll give credit to like the framing of his reveal was pretty cool. Keep him in shadow is nice stuff. The like the subtle green eyes glowing, like that's cool stuff. But you know, and then I get the reveal and I'm like, oh, terrifying. To live in that form. And then as I'm sitting here, I'm like, this design is lacking.
What do you think about an opening scene, Nathan, where Harrison Ford walks to a dark alley? We realize later on that it's Camp Echo 1, and we see him talking to the leader, Samuel Stearns, and tormenting him. I think, or like, at least like he could be like, "Help me, Stearns," or at least help me, like a pleading Ross, who is also keeping this guy in prison, showcasing from the jump Ross's like complicated past. Because that's one of the things that was very interesting, was like this guy like continued to use me, created like this continued to experiment on me so I could help him out. Like again, it's just telling us that. Like I would have loved to see that happen.
That would have been interesting. I think you should. Granted, you know, you'd have Harrison doing new scenes for this, but I think a compelling thing you could have done is like start with the immediate aftermath of the Incredible Hulk, Stearns getting taken away, studied, ultimately, you know, being kept under lock and key, even though he'll be used to his benefit. But I think this is a better chance to showcase the emotional journey of Ross. Like, have him start out of like, you know, he didn't leave things off great with Betty in Incredible Hulk. Have him go through all the appearances he did with the MCU in these movies, where like he has a chance to like take a step back and to like build bridges with her, but like there's a new thing like, well, Captain America's running away and now like there's aliens attacking, now everyone's disappearing, like these different things like keep coming up and up and up, and he feels he has to stay focused with it, and he can't do anything with Betty, and it keeps falling by the wayside for years and years, and that's just breaking it apart. And then you get to cut to present day, and he's just, everything's settled, sure, the world's fine, now he's up for election, but he's alone.
And then there's dude, that's crazy. Because Jalen and I, with the credits were rolling, we're like, because I was talking to him about my issues with Ross immediately after the movie ended, and I'm like, man, I just wanted more from Ross. And he said, no joke, Nathan, exactly what you said. Like, let's have like a montage. Just, and again, just what we saw with Invincible, what was it, episode 3, I think, where they do like no sound montage. What was that, like 5 minutes?
It was like 8 minutes.
It was like 8 minutes. And granted, in live action, you can shorten that, whatever. It's this movie's still 2 hours. It could be 2:10.
Yeah.
Like, add a 5-8 minute quick cut montage. You know what we got from like you know, it wasn't the best, but like in Thor Love and Thunder, we got the Jane and Thor relationship.
That was good.
That was pretty solid. It got across what it meant to get across. It could have been better, but like it worked for what it was. And I think this movie could have done that. Put Betty in there earlier. Give me some walks with Betty. Give me a montage of what he was doing to Stearns immediately after Incredible Hulk. Let me see the deterioration of that relationship with Stearns and with Betty. See Ross's POV of the events of the MCU, what that we have seen that we haven't seen from Ross. To see what he has changed. Dialogue, no dialogue, whatever. I think that could have worked better as a jumpstart for this movie.
You especially imagine like the scene of like cutting, you know, again and again to like Ross being in situations and seeing his phone light up. Betty's trying to call. He can't answer, and then those calls stop. And then as things slow down, he tries to call and she's not picking up.
Right there. Something like that.
I can fix this.
I can fix it. It fascinating. And I kind of hate saying like, how can a movie be better? Filmmaking is harder, obviously. But I just think it correlates with just my issue with the movie. Just like, I wanted more Ross. Weird to say because Ross is a co-lead, but like what they give us is interesting. I want to know why it isn't. You're telling me it's interesting, but I want to know why it's interesting. And then again, like same thing for Sam. I wanted more Sam. I wanted more what Sam's dealing with. Winter Soldier, for all the movie comparisons, like, oh, this is going back to the Winter Soldier. What makes Winter Soldier so interesting to me and compelling to me is that, yes, it's a thriller and it's intense and it's fun. But like Cap's character arc is very like worthwhile and compelling. Not just his relationship to Bucky, not his relationship to Natasha, but like Cap alone, what he's dealing with authority, failing his friend, losing his loved one in Peggy. No, that's Civil War. But like seeing Peggy, he's nearly losing her. But then his other friend, Bucky, shows up, a glimpse from the past. And like Cap goes through like a very worthwhile arc in that movie. I think it's much more compelling to track that arc compared to what Sam's going through, which where unfortunately he already had a TV show and just going over the same things again. It's just like
it is unfortunate because they probably thought like the show already did it, so we can't do it again. But like, you know, the amount of time we spend with Sam's family around their acres of land with his sister and his nephews, like that stuff is so rich. Could have easily brought her back. Brought them back, brought back the land. You know, when you have that moment where like the heroes take that breather before heading into the third act, get that boost of motivation.
How many times does that happen where heroes go back home and they're just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what I'm dealing with. Like something was Cap alone without torch, without hairs, without dealing with the bullshit. Like Cap, how are you doing, Sam? How are you doing? And I think they tried. I think whether it's reshoot or not, like I think they tried to sum up his emotional arc with that Bucky scene. But for me, it just doesn't work for me.
And as it goes, I do like the scene with Bucky, just coming from Bucky's comforting to Sam.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. I like their friendship. Even them joking about the little speech punch up. I like that. That's funny because that is very friend coded. But I think the unfortunate situation is it constantly tests these with audiences. I think they kind of put that stuff in, the whole idea of the serum and whatnot, because odds are, because at this point, Falcon Winter Soldier is coming up on being 4 years old.
Yeah.
And it's likely the general audience is like, wait, what happened? What? I don't know. Like, why doesn't he take the serum? Like, I guess we got to have him talk about taking the serum again, because they're not just gonna fill in the. Even though Marvel had gone in with them, people expecting like you got to watch the shows that are just important going into the things. The full general audience maybe isn't. So
yeah, they kind of wrote themselves into a hole here, where it's like, I understand, like as a filmmaker, you don't want to assume people watch the TV show that you weren't a part of. Even if you are part of the MCU where everything's connected, you do have to unfortunately reiterate some stuff. But it's like you could have done both. You could have talked about the serum, but then like also they kind of did, like when he's chasing after Bradley, like I should have took the serum. It's a funny joke. We get it. He didn't take the serum, but he's better off without it. But like by the end of the third act, he used to be upset about something else. Not again.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with reiterating, because even Torres tells somebody like, he got these wings from the Wakandans. It was a gift. Good stuff. You think I can get one of those? Funny stuff, works out, but that's just like a recap of, to the audience, but also to like a general person around. Like, that's the situation. It's not Sam reliving emotional arcs he's already experienced and having gone through with like the whole journey with Zemo and the super soldiers and whatnot.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think they did it well in some parts, but not well in that part. Other stuff, the action scene at the end again, the Hulk stuff was really cool. I really liked it. It's the whole line of like, oh, they were red. Like I didn't know they were red. Like that didn't need to be there. But like,
didn't need to be there at all. And I'm like, why? You never see that character before or again, by the way.
It was weird. But otherwise, again, the whole action sequence is really, really, really cool.
Really good. A lot more brutal than I expected. I didn't expect like the piercing of the skin constantly.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was good stuff. I like that.
Sam was holding his own. I thought, like, how can he possibly be Hawk? I think they made it believable.
Sam was holding his own, but when we do get to the point where he's getting crushed up and he's at his wit's end, I was genuinely worried. I was like, I don't know how you.
Dude, he was grabbing him. I'm like, oh,
yeah. I'm like, okay, here's the situation. If you're gonna have to undercut Sam by having him get some help right now, and if you don't, he's gonna die. Because what does stop him? I'm trying to remember.
So he's getting his head crushed. I think he kicks at like a part that's like stabbed, because he's stabbed by a wing. He kicks at, gives him some space.
That's right. I think it was the wing, right? The wing had the pent up kinetic energy to disperse.
Yeah.
But also he didn't have his mask on, so that was potentially damaging.
He's getting his head crushed. He gives him some space. He charges at him, and then But the part where he's leaving in like the wing part, then he throws the shield, grabs the shield, slams it down. I'm like,
oh, dude, it's scary.
That was scary. That was really cool.
I was like seeing the unpredictable strength of Hulks. It's good stuff.
It was just so cool, and I like seeing again how at the end Sam's good with his words. Talk no jutsu. Like you either have to talk him down and like think of his daughter at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good calming down sequence. I especially love when he said sun's getting real low, and Hawk was like, okay, cool.
He didn't. I halfway expected that joke. I really did.
I'm so glad he didn't do that, because I've been like, oh, come on. But yeah, it was funny.
It was funny. But I will say I do like that there's like he was able to peel that humanity inside Ross. Like hell, I don't even think this is like a dual personality thing with Ross, really. No. Like 100%, like the Hulk is, because I think that's in comics, that's a whole deep rooted trauma thing. But here that was really captivating. I will say this is the one, like, genuinely, I was pretty like locked in visually with the whole movie, but I think this is
Oh
the
yeah,
one example where I was like, okay,
the scene.
this is
That,
rethought.
that was
Because
bad. Because he's like this.
it's okay, so
It looks.
it's funny because like for all intents and purposes of like effects and color grading, it's not bad, but like from the angle you're filming Mackie on the stage to the 100% blurred background, that is where things are an issue, and you're like, okay, he is on the green screen.
It was bad. It was weird. We looked over at each other, but Jalen and I were like, "Oh my god, like that
It,
looks weird. Like what's
I
going
was
on here?"
I was at the, but you know, with how many fucking movies I have seen at this point, I am sitting there and I did notice it, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I see it. Let me take in the dialogue, whatever.
Yeah, let me
But
lock in. Yeah, but it is noticeable.
yes, it is there. It's prevalent. Stuff happened clearly. There was shift around. We always say I want to hear what the original story was, even though the sad reality is we will never see that. Like
We
it'll
know there
never
was
get.
different. You know, we know
There's no
Betty was part of this movie.
Yeah, there's no director's cut. I don't know whose funeral would have been. Maybe it was Ross's, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
A part of me was worried because the fact that I see Torres crash in the ocean and I had that funeral in my brain, I was like, you're not killing off Torres already. That's dumb. Don't do that. Thank God they didn't. I borderline expected an Ant-Man cameo with how many references he was getting.
Lots of Ant-Man in here. I'm like, okay, dang. I guess you did like Ant-Man for you guys.
I mean, he did appear in the Ant-Man movie. That little fight, that was fun.
Oh, that was fun. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
But yeah, it's that is Captain America.
Are we going to completely ignore the Israeli useless agent in this movie?
Nathan? I'll be real with you, Evan. The movie kind of did. It didn't matter.
It was weird.
Everyone up in arms about it, and I'm watching. I'm like, I mean, inconsequential, like a motherfucker. Like,
but that's the weird part. She's in the poster, and she's inconsequential, but she's important for like the second. She's semi-important in the first half of this movie. But it's like, but her arc is useless. Like I'm watching her, I'm like, okay, so your role here is just to spy on Sam, to be like this, like his obstacle. But every freaking one of your scenes, you're just going through what Sam has already gone through. It's like, wait, there's somebody controlling these agents. Her next scene is somebody's controlling the agents and killing them. Oh, wait, somebody else is like leading this. Like, oh, what? You're just one step behind.
I think it is like another thing of like, okay, this is a Israeli prominent character in the comics who I think is rather villainous actually in the comics. Only I think like a handful of comic appearances, maybe like fucking 3 issues or something. But given the state of Israel and Palestine, they were probably like, dial it back, don't dive into her. She is, like, and they even bring up in this movie like, oh, she's like former Black Widow. And it's like, okay, well then you just made it that, and other than like some hints to like the color of the comic suit, she's not really anything of that. What was the point?
What was the point of her character? Like, honestly, like
nothing against the actress, but you know, that's just
even outside the Israeli part, her character was just like, controversy aside, just not that even in the first half where she was more prevalent, she was just there to like be an obstacle to Sam, kind of. But like she doesn't really confront Sam. Even when they get to Camp Echo 1, Sam gets all the information. She comes in later and they tell her, she's like, okay, yeah, I guess you were right, Sam. And that's kind of it. And then the whole second half is just her just watching on a monitor, watching, observing, watching. It's like she disappears in that second half. And it's just, I'm sorry. I know this might be mean, but it's just like her action scenes just felt very unbelievable for like a 4'10" kind of character. And it was just kind of weird. And I'm just like, I'm not buying her action sequences. The lines she's giving, whether they were the lines or was the performance, I'm just not buying it. It was just a lot of done dirty to that character. Why she was in this movie, I don't know. Like she could have been gone completely, and this movie does not change. Like I've seen it twice now. Remove her, minus some confrontational arguing, but she's just arguing the same shit that Ross is telling Sam. It's like you just wanted another obstacle along Sam's journey. It's like, hey, give me what you know about that agent. But then nothing really changes about their relationship with their characters. Just like, oh, I was wrong about you, Sam. Yep, you were right, Sam. And that's kind of the end of their relationship. It was just a weird inclusion in this story for no reason.
Sure. I mean, also if we're really like talking about like characters you could remove, I'm sorry, Giancarlo Esposito, you have a great agent of booking you these roles, but they're not giving you anything of substance unless their name is Vince Gilligan. Nobody's able to give you substance. I'm sorry. The Boys is good. He's good on The Boys.
He's better in The Boys than he is on what's the other show he was just on? It was a Mando. Yeah. It was better than Mando's or The Boys is way better than what he's doing on Mando. The Boys he's like cooking, but like he's still like part of that stereotype. But at least he's like doing something.
A fun action scene with hunting him down through the streets when Sam doesn't have his gear, showing his capability. You don't need the serum. Look what you did.
You don't need the serum. So why are we talking about him needing the serum?
He got fucking stabbed, and he was fine.
That was great. So why are we talking about him needing the serum? Anyways, yeah, I agree. Giancarlo done dirty again. I'm just sighing every time he's on screen. I'm just like,
he didn't die. I'll give him that.
And I didn't post it on Twitter, but I wanted to post like that one thing where he was like at a Comic-Con event. He was like, I might have a Disney Plus series or something. No, you're not, dude. It's not you. Your character
right next to the Power Broker.
Yeah, your character's awful. It was
that kind of so part of me had me fearful that I was like, is that going to be the post credits again? Is something with Emily Van Camp's character, who again we liked until they just kind of like made her rogue for no reason.
Yeah, people hated her in Civil War, but I'm like, I didn't mind her, so I thought she was pretty solid in Civil War. But then in her series is just. Yeah, it wasn't great. But yeah, let's talk about this post-credit scene. It wasn't Emily Van Camp. It was just Stern saying what we already know. What are you doing here? What are you doing? Hey, Nathan, guess what? Hey, Nathan, guess what? There's other worlds you should be nervous about. Didn't we just watch Multiverse of Madness made $950 million? It's like, what are we doing here?
Now,
okay, let's take a step back. Maybe we're just too dialed in. Maybe this is for people that just
Hold on, Evan. Now I'm gonna say this is still not the worst post-credit scene I've ever seen.
No,
I've seen Morbius. I've seen second example.
What a bad
listen,
within the MCU though, within the MCU,
I mean, hell, even the ones that are just punchline humor, I'm still there's chuckle. Now this, I'm chuckling for a different reason because Evan, I've seen this before. There was a movie in 2016 called Batman v Superman.
Oh, I love that movie.
And Lex Luthor in prison and is confronted by the Batman.
Yes.
And he's crashing out and he says, something big's coming. And that big thing is coming in a big crossover event film of the heroes.
I forget how Luthor even knows about that shit. What is it?
Because he saw things in the fucking afterbirth of Doomsday.
Okay.
But that scene.
What?
It's that scene in essence. I don't know how Stern sees. I guess he sees the probability of things, and so knowing the public knowledge of things that have been happening on Earth, he's able to piece together that some form of incursions are happening, even though there's no real public knowledge of TVA stuff. And I doubt Strange is sharing his knowledge of things to the Earth. I don't know how he knows about any of this.
This type of post-credit scene needs to stop. Like this needs to stop where the BVS, the one we see here, where it's like, get ready for our movie next summer. There's smarter ways to do this. Like post-credit scenes used to mean something. Put a hammer in the desert.
They still do. They still do. It just depends who's doing them. Like if we're taking like Cap films, so we'll go off of Civil War. Bucky's getting treatment in Wakanda, set up for Black Panther. good stuff there, and also for Infinity War as well. It's like it's a multi-purpose end credit scene that works out. Spider-Man's got some tech. He's hanging out back at home, but he's coming back. Cool. Homecoming, coming back. Cool. Stuff like that. Cool. Also, if you're going off of Winter Soldier, Bucky's at the Smithsonian, learn about himself, set up for Civil War. Bucky,
that was awesome.
Related. That
was
stuff.
Great. That was a fantastic post-credit scene. That just like an extra sauce for his character arc. I fucking love that post-credit scene. Man.
Very good. Very good. Great. Do you have examples of things that are not working this way, or that are working?
Not really. I mean, you go back to the goats, right? Like, just even Incredible Hulk. Tony showing up at the end of Incredible Hulk. Man, that gave me chills when I'm watching Incredible Hulk. That was great. It's like, oh shit, Tony's here. And just two guys talking. Nick Fury one, of course, is iconic. There's a bigger world. Even that one, saying there's a bigger world out there. It's alluding to something like bigger, but like we know Nick Fury has knowledge about that. It makes sense for Fury to do that. This one just didn't make sense. It's weird.
Loki surviving the end of Thor in the post credits, eyeing Skarsgård's conversation with Fury.
Oh, that's a good. Wait. Are you talking about the one where he takes the throne? That one or
no? It's where Shield has possession of the Tesseract, and they bring in I forget his name, but Thor's scientist friend, is played by Luthen from Andor.
Yeah.
And they're looking over it, and then
Loki's
like in a reflection watching over as well. It doesn't actually canonically pan out as like
it doesn't make sense. But
it alludes to what's gonna happen, and then it clicks later.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like this one just doesn't make sense, and it's weirder in the movie because you can tell this was like not meant to happen because like Sam walks in, has a scene with Ross. And then you want me to believe like he just turns the corner, has a scene with Stearns or something? Does he come back? It's
gotta be a different room, surely.
Does he come back? Is it different? Is he walking down the hallway like, you know what? Let me go talk to Stearns. Like Stearns was talking to me. Like it just felt weird for it to be in the same location that you just finished the movie in. It was just weird. Sure. It just looked weird. It's like, did he just turn the corner? Did he go down the corner? It didn't make sense. And you can tell like this came in later in the game. It's just like, what do you want, Stearns? He's like, oh, okay. It's like. Like, is he gonna start Doomsday being like, okay, like, hey guys, I heard from this guy called Samuel Stearns that I've heard this before. There used to be like there's easier ways for Sam to just be knowledge about this in the first 5 minutes of Doomsday. Like he doesn't need to know this. He just doesn't need to know this. Like it doesn't do anything for us or Sam.
No, it doesn't much matter. The more intriguing bits happening right now is the fact that Sam is having conversations of rebuilding the Avengers with Ross, but it's restated to Torres that maybe we should build up like a solid team again.
How do we not talk about this yet? Before we end the podcast, like this movie didn't push the needle on the Avengers at all. Like the post-credit scene should have been that. Should have been like at least calling Brie Larson. Right? How cool would that have been? Like, hey, Cap.
Arguably, Evan, Kamala's doing more.
Kamala's putting in more work.
Is putting in more work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, have Sam call, because that would have been great, guys. Like, again, Sam's arc in this movie could have been more focused on his leadership abilities, not the serum, his leadership. And that could have been more interesting where the post-credit scene, he's talking to, like, Captain Marvel, who we know is back on Earth now. We don't know who else is in the fucking Avengers now. Somebody, maybe even like Bucky or something, like somebody talking about like who to put in the next Avengers lineup, like him and Torres talking about like, hey, let's call Captain Marvel. We might need some help later on for something, like something about the Avengers. Like, I guess we'll have to wait till till Thunderbolts. That latest trailer did talk about like, hey, there's no Avengers. Like, what's going to happen here? I assume that movie's going to have pushed the needle a little bit more on the Avengers or something. I don't know.
Maybe, because I don't think Fantastic Four is going to do it.
No, we all think that post-credit scene is going to be about Doom and Doomsday, or Doomsday and Pedro being like, oh, Tony, what?
Which at this point, and by the way, I think Bucky fully walked off of the set of Thunderbolts to film that cameo.
1,000%.
So to that point, it's probably fair to assume Mackie probably walked off of this set to do post credits for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I would
Right
love that.
on.
You know, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a Valentina character trying to make her own Avengers team. It fails by the end of the movie. You know, they save the day. But like
Yeah.
Cap's like, okay, this is how we're really going to make a team. Hence, something. I don't know.
Now, which is funny because Evan, I saw that again in the DCEU at the end of Suicide Squad. They were like, the Suicide Squad didn't work out, but Amanda Waller gave Bruce stats
Yeah.
on all the other Justice League people.
That was weird.
So we'll see what happens.
There's a lot of flash drives in those movies where Wonder Woman going through her computer, going through emails and stuff.
Batman's going through them too.
Batman going through files. Like, okay. Anyways,
Not too soon.
Yeah, so that's Captain America: Brave New World. Next week we'll talk about Invincible episode 5, the end of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and then some other movie news, and then 2 weeks after that we'll start doing deep dives of every episode for Daredevil Born Again. That's gonna be really fun because we didn't really talk about that when it was on Netflix. We talked about it like after the season aired, but because it dropped all at once, we didn't really.
That was like,
and that was before our podcast.
Fuck, I think season 3 dropped in like 2017.
Yeah, so that was before our podcast. So we never really dived deep into that, but it'll be fun to track that show. And they've been dropping some, TV spots and stuff. I've been trying to avoid some of those mostly, but yeah, this was a fun pod. Totally, it's always fun going over Marvel movies and flaws and all. But again, having said all those complaints and the good and the bad and the ugly, this is middle of the road Marvel for me. I don't know where I'd rank it. Oh, I didn't ask you. You told me you ranked it, but what number is it for you, buddy? I don't have an MCU ranking. It's too many movies.
I'm sure this needs updating from rewatches, but hell, I even in doing some rewatches, I did shift stuff. What's that?
Is this above Civil War?
No, this is below every Cap thing.
Easily, yeah.
For me, I have it at number 27.
27 out of 30.
Out of 45.
45. That's a lot of movies behind it. What movies are behind it? Name a few.
Blah blah blah. Fucking right behind it is She-Hulk series, Captain Marvel, Ragnarok, First Avengers.
Oh, the first Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe bounce. I don't know. Again, this is fucking vague.
Yeah, sure.
I have it above Iron Man 3, Homecoming, Far From Home, Love and Thunder, First Ant-Man, Age of Ultron, Dark World, and Hulk.
I like Homecoming a lot.
Yeah, I do. We did our rewatches, and I think that was fresh off of where I was like, I saw the Miss Marvel show, and I was like, damn, this could have been Homecoming.
This could have been better. Homecoming.
Fleshing out stuff. It's above the first Thor.
But this movie is better than Far From Home. I will stand on that. I think Far From Home is not a great movie. I think it shocks me that movie has like a 91 or Tomatoes. I'm like, I think people were really, granted, people aren't calling Far From Home like an A movie, but it's just like, I'm shocked Far From Home didn't get that level of backlash that I think it deserves. It's not a great movie. Anyways, sorry.
I mean, yeah. Iron Man 2, Ant-Man the Wasp, and Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania.
I would have put those above the last two Ant-Man movies for sure.
But it's only a couple slots down from Falcon and Winter Soldier because, like I said, this felt like an extended episode, and I think the full grand arc of the show is. Yeah, I fucking told you, I fucking cried. So
yeah, I didn't even love the show nearly as much as you did. I thought it was a very flawed show, but even I would put the show above the movie.
I'm sorry, fucking like 2 minute, real quick. We didn't talk about Isaiah Bradley. He is amazing.
Oh, he's great. He's great in this movie.
He's amazing.
Great point. We got to talk about that real quick. He's great in this movie. His relationship, again, one of the other good relationships that he had with Sam. I think Sam has a lot of great relationships in the movie. Torres, Harrison, and Isaiah Bradley. I think like his scene when he was crying to Sam, like, man, I don't think I can make it
go back in.
I'm like, woo!
Things worsening in the situation outside to where he has to be put in solitary for safety, but like he's traumatized from that. The fact that there's a clicking talk of potential death penalty for trying to assassinate the president is a good ticking clock for Sam.
Yep, exactly. I just thought the first half of this movie, I think, is really solid. I think for me, it deteriorates a little bit towards the end, even though the celestial action sequence is cool. I think thematically and the writing wise, I think the movie just like takes a bit of a dip. But the first half of this movie, I think, is really compelling with like a fun intro sequence. Him and Isaiah, that bond really cements the first half of this movie, really gets the heart of the movie in there and what Sam is really fighting for in this movie. Sam's heroics are on full display in this movie, and that's primarily due to his connection to Isaiah Bradley. Their brotherly relationship is really good.
Fucking, all right, don't have him complain about the serum. Have him worried about Isaiah. He's not going to be able to help him. Go talk to his fucking grandson, nephew, whoever from the show. Have him start there. Have him inspire Sam. Damn it.
Yeah. Damn it. That's a great point as well. Again, that goes into his idea of leadership, that bond. How can I be a leader of people if I can't even save the person closest to me? Like,
I know. Hell, I know you like laughed at like Torres being inspired by Sam, but like if that kid who becomes Patriot in the comics is inspired by Sam,
that makes more sense. That makes more sense to me. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
like I see you out there on TV, Sam, and I relate to you, man. I understand what you're going through. Like, go out there, go Tiger. No,
yes. Now I have to concede to Evan because he was like, I think Thunderbolts will be better than Cap, and I was like, there's no shot. There's a shot.
That Thunderbolts second trailer is so much fun. I think Thunderbolts is gonna have a fun factor to it that this movie doesn't have. I mean, it's not trying to be like a fun movie, but I think Thunderbolts is like riding on that wave of like, what are we doing? We're just shooting and punching and going against the void. What are we doing? So I think
we're gonna have this century.
So I think this movie's gonna have more fun, and I think the heart's gonna come in with Red Guardian.
Yeah,
funnily enough.
If for nothing else, Yelena and Bucky alone are gonna elevate everything.
Yeah, big time. You put Florence Pugh in anything, she's gonna hard carry. So yeah, and now Academy Award nominee Sebastian Stan is going to help elevate stuff. So you're right. I can't believe we almost let the podcast stop talking about Isaiah Bradley. Thank you for that. Yeah, he was really, really good in this movie. Again, somebody
we were talking this whole time, and I was like, I know there's a reason I like this movie. Why everything we were talking about?
Again, yeah, there is some really strong things I like about this movie. But yeah, I think I gave it like 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I think it's a solid movie, not the worst movie you'll ever see, but yeah, solid movie. I did see The Gorge this weekend with Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller. Really fun movie. Speaking of MCU, that was Scott Derrickson's movie. He got let go of Multiverse of Madness, went over to do this movie and like the Black Phone 2. So I just like Scott Derrickson's career right now. I watched an interview on what was it called? Next Best Picture. He was doing an interview, and he's just a really fun director. He understands like the idea of like good genre movies. The Gorge is like, it does veer into like generic towards the end, but like there's some good horror, supernatural elements. Miles and Anya have great chemistry together. It's romantic in spades. It's really fun. I really recommend people watch that if you have Apple TV Plus. It's not the best thing you'll ever see, but it's a fun way to spend your weekend. I really had a lot of fun with it.
You bringing up Scott Derrickson reminded me there was a tweet that was dumb. That was MCU complaint, which was they used to just get established filmmakers for these, but like by phase 3 they kind of just didn't get anybody that did, and I was like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Derrickson had Sinister, fucking the Russos had Community, things like that.
Yeah, phase 3 was
like, you could make an argument for John Watts, but other than that,
Ryan Coogler like cemented phase 3 of Black Panther.
But even then he had both Fruitvale Station and Creed before that.
Exactly. So it's like, what are they talking about?
Insane.
But I still would really love if Scott Derrickson came back for Doctor Strange 3. I don't know what the schedule looking like, but
I mean, I really do love what he brought to the first Doctor Strange movie for sure. But I can't deny I really love Raimi's style, and his commitment to old school horror elements is really. They're both from a horror background, so I know they could both deliver well. I just think Raimi has a greater sense of like combining horror with comic bookiness as well.
The goofiness of like he understood the goofiness of a Doctor Strange movie or the character. The character's goofy. It's supernatural / goofy. So like cementing that. And I didn't love Multiverse of Madness, but like seeing Sam Raimi go on a different script, I think that movie was it was too closely connected to like what was going on with Scarlet Witch and her show. I'm like, if they give Doctor Strange just like go full on Doctor Strange and Clea multiverse craziness.
Yeah.
Go wild. Yeah, fight Nightmare, go wild. That's when we can see Sam Raimi cook. Where it's not closely aligned with the Disney Plus show.
But even then, fucking cooked.
He did cook. I mean, granted, I don't love it, but I'd put Multiverse of Madness above this movie, where it just has more. That movie had more style and more fun to it. So yeah. Again, Multiverse of Madness for me is just like I'm so closely connected to Scarlet Witch. I just didn't
Watch it again.
love her. What's that?
Watch it again.
Watch it again. Maybe it's better.
Maybe when we get to Phase 4 on our commentary.
Maybe. Is it on the wheel? Phase 3, Phase 1?
Phase 1 is, and so subsequently, when we do that, it will be replaced with Phase 2.
I can't wait to watch the first Cap with you. I've been seeing it on the timeline. People are like, "Man, MCU used to mean something," which I know. I hate that.
I'll do it now.
We got time. Yeah. So we have infinite time. So yeah, find me on Twitter, guys. Harris EV9, going over all things, Marvel, comic book, Star Wars. I'm still riding high on Castlevania Nocturne. Over a month since that aired in January. All these shows getting renewed. Not Castlevania Nocturne. If you have not watched Castlevania or Castlevania Nocturne, don't be like Nathan. Go watch it on Netflix. I know Nathan. Sorry for the stray. But yeah, I've been reading a lot. I'm reading still some romance fantasy novels, but I'm also listening to an audio drama, Star Wars Tempest Breaker. They're continuing the final run of the High Republic comic books on Wednesday. It's called Fear of the Jedi. It's the last 12 issues, or the beginning of the end of the High Republic for 2025. It's never too late to get caught up on the High Republic. It's one of the best. It's my favorite era in Star Wars. It's so dark, cool, but light. It's like it's everything I love in Star Wars. Nice. Anyways, Nathan, what are you up to? Are you blazing through time?
What's my fucking blazing? No, but I am. You can follow me at _Time Blazer, making a show called Time Blazer with co-star and creative consultant Evan Harris.
Plain Ben, who's always kicking ass, taking names on that show.
Yeah, well, you see, Evan, ever since Ben was a kid, he wanted to be like Scott. That doesn't even timeline make sense because you were a hero before I was.
Yeah, I'm not older than you, motherfucker.
Not that much. Maybe 5 years. It's fine.
But yeah.
That being said, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you miss coverage on all things movie and TV. And that being said, we have a great day. Catch you guys next time.